feel like my gun's weaker than last time.
Okay. Well, well, well. Come one, come all, gather around for a tale of adventure, suspense, possible love, friendship. Our tale brings us to the faraway lands of the Forgotten Realms, far from our kingdom of Dracovia, to a town named Phandalin. We are just about 20 miles, 24 miles, or about 20 miles south of Phandalin right now in a campsite. It is... It is nighttime. It is late. It is about maybe, I'd say about, I think it was 11 o'clock. What the hell is that? That was
I am an instant.
way.
Oh, but now I'm done.
I wanted to find that one. Thought I turned that one off. Yeah. Alright, you take her to get a drink of water. Sounds good. Alright, so my... Okay, hold up.
Oh.
I remember trying to say I'm going to catch fish. If I remember
Right
the
here.
short rest. Yes, you do. I believe some of your stuff, not all of your stuff. We can double check. I think you do get the short rest though for your spells. So where the wizard too will become unwanted again. It says on your thing short and long rest.
Yep.
1 hour. Anyway, okay.
Sorry.
Here.
I need to reload.
So we currently find ourselves sitting around a fire. We have Gothics. We have... That's... I'm looking for that one. Where is that? That's the thing. I'm sorry. I don't want that one either. Give me a sec. There it is. I found it. I don't want that either, trust me.
Holy crap.
There we go. Alright. Wanted that out. That was annoying. Okay. So, we are currently sitting around the fire. We've decided that
I don't have 300 in the clip anymore.
that we were going to have
And I only
Skullface
have 1.5
do first
now
watch.
of this one.
Who wanted to do second watch. As we sit around, we also needed to decide if we were going to attempt to maybe try and hunt, or we were just going to eat our rations. I'm fine with eating our rations, but we only have, I think, about one each left. We will definitely need to hunt. We didn't really buy any food at the store or anything like that. We basically had our rations, though.
What if I go down? I was going down last time.
As we are doing that, Pro Gamer Guns sees Skullface and Silver sitting near the water, and Skullface is sharpening a stick to attempt to try and spear us some fish, maybe to eat tonight. That wouldn't be too bad. Molly heads near them, licking them as you hear the
I think that's around the
from the dolphin as Pro Gamer Guns pets her side as she drinks some nice cool water. Skullface, go ahead and roll a 20 if you want to try and see if you can spear some fish. But you gotta roll your survival skill though. Okay, so your survival is a +3. Seeing this go down, I currently walk over from the fire to go see what you guys are doing, and to watch this sit next to Silver and currently see how this is going to go down. He rolled a 2. So the first attempt, as Skullface tries to, he gets in the water, he splashes, his boots are high in about ankle to knee high water he's in right now, and he walks into the water and attempts to pierce a fish, and he steps in a glob of mud and getting a little bit deeper on one end, and you know, and pulls it out, and he's still in the water, flushing about. As it is nighttime right now, you have dark vision, but I'm not giving you disadvantage. Okay, I would say go ahead and see if Molly, you know, seeing this go down, enters and as kind of slightly walks into the water and tries not to splash about as she sees, and she's getting a little hungry as well, and she attempts to see if she can go ahead and roll a 20 for Molly. And let's see, her survival is a what based? Wisdom based. Her wisdom is a +1, so go ahead and roll a +1 with a 20, and let's see. Oh. Yeah, it's Mech Warrior. Mech Warrior. The big difference. Rolled a 2 as well. Oh no. Damn. Really, Molly? So Molly, seeing this, attempts to bite the water. She bites at the water and she spits out a little bit of cattail and you know, tall grass that's in the water at the edge. Seeing this funny display, I start to chuckle to myself as Max, and I'm like, and I think to myself, maybe we can try something. I don't have my electrical powers in the game yet, so I don't want to do it yet. I would like electrify the shit. Try to okay, go ahead. So Skullface attempts to another, you know, go ahead and roll 20. Go ahead, and he's like, all right, this time, and you know, he lines it up and gets ready to strike a fish. He sees a fish coming, and the movement, he sees a little movement in the water as a decently sized medium fish size to large, you know, starts thinking. He's like, oh boy, here we go. Rolled a 5, 6, 7. I'm looking for a 10 at least. Jesus. Oh no. The miss, my friend.
I got you.
So Skullface again, you know, he gets and he pokes down and he misses another. That the little fish flies. The fish decently swims away, and Skullface's tummy grumbles a little more. Music intensifies. Anything you want to do, Monarch? It goes in for redemption. Getting a little frustrated, you hear Molly's voice kind of groan as she does one of those doggy groans. And bites towards the water again, attempting to grab another fish.
Great.
Go ahead and roll another 20 and +1 wisdom.
Starter. Ray gun.
I got ray gun. I has ray gun. Revive me, bro. I has ray gun.
hit. We go see.
All right, redeemed. Can you try and catch a fish? I don't see why not. How do you want to go about it, Monarch?
Oh,
Redeemed. Let's see here. You go. All right. So, you know, with a little groan you hear, and little and Molly, big Molly actually, it looks down and she sees the fish and she starts to swim, and it comes a little closer to her legs, and you see her ears perk up, and she kind of turns her head and bites in time, and you hear the flopping of the fish and the water splashing against the other water in the pond. And we have one fish.
Did they just die?
One fish.
They just died.
One medium fish, and we put it to the side. We need to put it into something or make sure it doesn't like flop away or get covered in dirt. Like, how do you guys want to do this? I kind of clap and I'm like, yeah, all right, Molly.
I'm gonna ult through this hallway because it gets bad.
I'd say we need about maybe 5 fish, 6 fish. Depends how, maybe, you know, about 1 each. Whoa. Maybe, if not, like some people could split.
My
flip
ult
one.
just shut off.
I'll put my antenna in the water. Okay, so Monarch, being the about decently medium-sized butterfly that he is, he flutters over from the bugbear. And the bugbear sitting there tied down next to the tree is watching us as he just kind of just doesn't make any facial expressions but sits there. And Monarch flies over and attempts to land on the log.
No, we're not going to the roof.
And dips his decently sized antenna. I'd say it's about, what, a foot long antenna?
Yeah.
Because monarch butterflies have some pretty big antenna. But let's see how that works. Go ahead, Monarch, and roll a 20 for survival.
Gotta call it, though, I think.
I use my rope. So the rope is really thick. I don't think a fish is going to grab this thick of a rope. They're not really going to bite that rope, just letting you know. You can definitely do that, though.
I made a berserk.
I sling the fish onto the rope. Okay. Rolled a 19. All right. So everybody kind of sits there confused a little bit as Monarch lands down. And Monarch, I would say, this is just a DM question then. Do you consider that you eat fish, or do you consider that you eat pollen and flowers and stuff like that? Like, do you actually stick to being a butterfly? Because there's plenty of flowers and stuff like that. I would just have you do a different check. I would have you do a nature check to find it. But that's just a question to you. But otherwise, Monarch has caught us another fish. As the fish, you know, Monarch sits there for about 5 minutes, to almost 10 minutes pass, and everybody's kind of, you know, seeing if anything will happen. And as we are doing our own things to try and catch fish, and Monarch sitting there as this is all going down, and has his antenna kind of sitting in the water, and he kind of just sits there bobbing it, and
okay, how are you doing?
And a little fish, you know, not too big in size. I'd say a little smaller than a medium. It seems to get attached to, or attracted to the little black ball that's at the end of his antenna, because I picture as a thing, and they bite the antenna, and Monarch, you know, tries with all his might. Monarch, go ahead and roll a 20 strength, or a strength roll to see if you can pull this fish out. That might just pull you a little bit because you are not the strongest butterfly, and it is a fish. Not a huge fish, but it's definitely good for your size. It's about your size in body. Okay, I string the fish onto the rope. Oh, okay, I see. So you want to tie up some, you know, get like 2 sticks and make a tying up rope to the rope. Monarch rolled a 9 for strength. Let's see your strength again. You have a +0. Monarch, he's pulling the butterfly, you know, and then all of a sudden the fish gets a good tug on him, and Monarch gets pulled. All of a sudden you see Monarch get pulled into the water, and Monarch, you know, you hear this kind of whoop, and quickly Molly, seeing this happen, reaches down with her paw and kind of scoops Monarch real quick, and the fish She scoops them, and they kind of poof, get knocked back onto the surface as she kind of does this kind of scoop, and Monarch and the fish kind of flop wetly onto the thing, and you see the fish kind of flopping on the ground, splashing about, and Monarch kind of sitting there, you know, and drying himself off a little bit.
Okay, that didn't work.
Okay.
Okay, I had to kill one.
Let's see here. I tried to get a fish by throwing my dagger. That's fine with me.
I'm gonna try home.
Go ahead. Roll a 20. So that's what, 3 fish. All right, looking good, guys. Looking good. I like that. Not what I was expecting. A seedless sting through the mouth. Yeah, so we have, I would say, Monarch Pro Gamer Guns, go ahead and roll a nature check again and add your nature to it. And let's see if you can go find those sticks really quick and tie up and make like a little stand so our fish can hang on the rope. Is that what I'm picturing here? Like a, you know, like we kind of tie you know, we kind of use the pierce it and cut through. You could even use sticks to pierce through it and shit in survival. I'll give you that, but roll a 20. You hear the fire crackle. Okay. All right. So Skullface, seeing another, what he grabs his dagger. He's like, you know what? Screw this stick, and he kind of flips his dagger. He grabs it at the point end and has it in his hand, and you see it as he sees the fish coming around, and it's waving. It's kind of relaxed and has its guard down. A medium-sized fish. He gets his dagger and he throws it at the fish, and you just hear this poof as the water submerses against the fish. The fish attempts to try and get away. It sees in the split second you see the fish jolt, but at the same time the fish goes limp in water and kind of, you know, does its what's it called, muscular spasms. That's 5 fish, right? Rolled a 7. Pro Gamer Guns, you found some sticks, but you have a little trouble putting them together, and it kind of falls apart, and a little bit of the fish, you know, falls on the ground, and it gets a little dirty, and it clumps down, and you need to, you know, you have to grab the fish and like the 3 or 4 fish that were already there, and because it fell under the weight of the fish, and you pick up the fish and you kind of try to wash them, you know, and oh no, one of the fish starts to move. Go ahead, roll a 20 and see if you roll strength and roll a 20. And or let's say dexterity. Let's do dexterity. Do a dexterity saving roll as the fish, as you're trying to wash off the dirt from like the third fish, and it's starting to wiggle and it wants to swim away. The music intensifies. Alright, so Skullface, having fun in the water, gets out of the water as he splooshes out of the water. Very good. Boom! Pro Gamer Guns holds on to that fish as it slips out of her hand, and she grabs it again and does one of these comical, you know, things, and holds it, and then it just sits there, and she just fucking holds the damn thing and gets back to the surface and ties it up, and the fish holding the rope, the fish tie, whatever, rack is finished and holding, and it is sturdy, and Skullface is him attempting to head into the bushes. Go ahead and Skullface, go ahead and roll another survival check as you head a little bit more into the forest. Silver is following you. I don't need this intense.
I put fire on it.
Oh yeah. Sweet.
Me too. Guess it's to change it.
Alright, if I find mushrooms, okay, sweet. Skullface rolled a 2. Skullface looks around and it's dark, and he looks near some bushes, and he opens a log, and he cracks open the log, and he, you know, and all of a sudden, like a bunch of grimy grubs, you know, are on his fingers, and and he doesn't see it, and he drops the log, and you hear this thump. You know, Skullface, you hear this thump as the log falls back down, and kind of just and you look at Silver, and he kind of looks at you, and you look at each other, and then you start to walk back to camp. Together we all start to head back to camp, successful and happy, and Cowgirl has always been proficient at cooking, and she has brought in a pan, at least, some basic cooking supplies for us. And so we come back, and Pro Gamer Gun sits on the log. There's about 3 logs around the fire that are you know, nicely placed, but the rest of us are sitting on the floor. Monarch comes near Gothix and lands near Gothix. Gothix is also sitting on the floor, kind of just in the nose, and you know, uses his hands and ready to warm up from the fire, and being soaked wet. And I as well come back to Cowgirl, and we start to cook the fish.
We're at level 30.
And you smell like Cowgirl has some basic salts and spices, you know, and the smell of food starts to fill your nostril as a good tasting and smelling fish starts to fry on the pan, and we all start to enjoy. I don't know. I did not have one.
Dude, my ult canceled again. I'm gonna die. Monkeys.
Okay, emailed. Okay, since you emailed, I cannot.
I don't know how I'm doing that, but I'm canceling my ult.
Alright. Everything's good. Skullface, you know, also comes back with Silver, and you hear Skullface kind of mumbling to himself, and Cowgirl notices, and Gothix notices.
I only used it for a second.
Just a slight mumble, and he wasn't anybody talking to him. And Cowgirl's, "What was that?" And Skullface is like, "Huh?" Molly sees a bird in the tree and flies up to go catch it. So Molly, you know, flies up in the air, and you don't know why, and Molly kind of flies off for a second without saying a word. Pro Gamer Guns kind of sees it and is like, "Whoa!" Nothing too worried about it though. As you kind of hear her bark a little bit in the distance.
Zombie ran right in front of me.
Can I roll for a mushroom? So Monarch also, you know, after drying off for a little bit, you know, talks to Skullface, and Skullface is like, you know, I tried to find us a couple of mushrooms or something to snack on too. And Monarch, I never did get your answer, Monarch. Do you eat? Are you eating food, or are you eating like? Are you eating food, or are you eating, you know, can you eat human food? Can you eat both? Do you want to eat both that you can get nourished from? Because I'll allow it that you allow, you know, flowers. You hear Skullface kind of talking to himself a little bit, and he kind of says, you know, "Shut up! I need to focus."
What's going on?
What?
You okay?
Lots of wolves.
It's a lot of giants, and also, I don't know who spawned them.
Weird. What game? The wolf game? That's the wolf game?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Somebody
I'd rather eat mushrooms. Okay, so Vegetation. Okay. So, Monarch also heads out as as he does not eat fish, and he heads into the forest. Go ahead, Monarch. Roll. Go ahead and roll a survival check. With. Let me see something here. Go ahead. Roll with your nature or your survival. You have a +5 in your survival. So survival to find it. So see if you can find the mushrooms with survival.
Yeah.
You kind of hear Molly overhead flying as she flaps her wings and is chasing a bird in the sky.
You told me when we need to go.
Roll an 18. All right, Monarch. Go ahead and roll another 20. And let's see what did you find. So Monarch sees some mushrooms. He sees the stump that is half broken and off its side as it was split down the middle when Skullface kind of lifted it up and kind of cracked it like a sandwich open. And he sees the same log as he passes by, and he finds a bush. And he with his innate butterfly senses and his smell, he smells a mushroom. And a type of mushrooms, and they are kind of a red maroon color with just a dark brown undertone, no spots, and the redness seems to drip from the top of the crown to the bottom like a maroon color.
I miss that gun. I would pause how. Oh.
Rolled a 10. Very good. All right, Monarch. You deduct that these are red animatas. They are a edible mushroom, and they will not harm you. And that they are edible, and you find about 7 caps, enough to suffice for about two meals. And you put them, in your little mini backpack that you have at your side, and the invisible backpack that pops away, and you take the mushrooms you found inside the bush. That you found like underneath the bush, buried within the bushes near a tree's edge. A big dark woodish tree with actually surprisingly not as many leaves as you would expect, and you head back very satisfied with your find, and you sit down and you pull your mushrooms, and you see the rest of the group, and we look to you, and I kind of nod, and you look to us, and you pull out of your backpack these 2 mushrooms, and everybody kind of like eyes lighten up like, oh wow, what did Monarch find? And I ask Monarch, what did you find? As Max.
Thanks. So good.
You walk away. Okay, Skullface, waiting for the fish to finish to be cooking, for it has been about maybe 30 minutes now. Takes a second to walk away. Silver attempts to follow you, but you kind of wave him to chill, and not really listening because he's not trained yet, follows you as well.
Not that long ago, I can tell.
I found some mushrooms. I'm like, and I look at him, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, do they taste any good?
Loading.
What are they called? Molly, come here, girl. Molly, you hear? She doesn't hear you, but she's not paying attention. She chases the bird around. The bird, as you see, Molly, she's flying about, and she flies between 2 trees, and you kind of see this dodge as she's chasing this bird, and as she gets closer, the bird runs into a hole of a tree and out the other side, and Molly falls for it and sees the, stops at the first hole, and the bird comes out the other side on the right, and gets it doesn't, and Molly doesn't see it, and Molly's kind of stuck looking at this tree for a minute right now, trying to find the bird. It's been about another since this just started happening, so I'd say about another hour passes by, and the food is done cooking, and we're all eating our food, and we're all healing up, and we're all getting back into full health. I am back at my 22. Anybody else remember that? Everybody looks full health. No. Did I say anything was attacking? As of right now, you don't know that she isn't in danger. She's not with you right now. You heard her barking. You kind of hear her barking in the distance. Red amanitas. All right. And I look and I ask him, like, you think you can give me a taste? I'm curious to see what this tastes like. And that's start talking to myself out loud. All right. I thought we were. There's an unfamiliar voice. So Skullface is you don't really hear it because Skullface is off to the side, and we're all kind of talking and eating right now, and Skullface is talking to himself, and nobody sees this, and you hear a different voice. You hear a female voice, Skullface. But as far as Skullface starts to argue with himself.
Especially when they had peed.
Okay, so we're eating, and as we're eating, you stop hearing Molly bark, and about another 20 minutes passes by, and Skullface is still kind of eating, or still talking to himself, and I put my food down, and I head over to Skullface, and I yell from afar a little bit, and I yell to Skullface. I'm like, hey, we're all eating right now, man. You should come eat some food before we all eat it. And as I'm saying that, Molly, not flying, she's actually walking. She's a little upset that she didn't catch the bird, but whatever, attention spans of a dog. And she starts to head back. You start to hear the thump 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 as Molly runs past the bugbear in the tent and heads to Pro Gamer Guns. And Pro Gamer Guns is eating, and she smiles, and she's like, oh, Molly, you silly dog, you silly dolphin. I go back to the group and get my fish. Skullface, hearing this, kind of snaps out of it, and Silver is, and Silver and him head back, and as Skullface is coming, you see this camera view where you see the back of Skullface and his cloaked outfit that he has, and his blue horns kind of silhouette through the fire as it faces towards him, and we are facing towards the fire right now, and you see my silhouette kind of wave him over, and he walks kind of slowly, but he's normal, and walks a decent pace, and I grab his shoulder, and I kind of and I look to Silver as Silver sees him walking, and was kind of watching the whole thing, and it turns out it was the point of view of Silver, and Silver quickly kind of does one of those dog things where they were sitting for a second, but then instantly kind of sit up and kind of come towards us, and we walk together, and I come back and I sit near Cowgirl, and Skullface kind of, you know, moves around and sits near
Something that'll probably help us
between
is that we
Monarch
have
and
celery,
and Cowgirl, and everybody's enjoying their meal, and the bugbear still sits tied up to a tree off to the side. And all right, so I would say it's about almost, if there's anything else.
Get the money investment.
Can the mounts have and right? I don't know. I would say it's in the question of both breeders, and then we'd have to, like, definitely. I'm curious to see a mechanic for that. That's a good question. I'll have to look that up. If there's a mechanic for it, I'm sure I've already kind of figured out. I'm just gonna write down the word babies. I'm sure I've already kind of figured that out, kind of, but we'll see. Good question, though. I cut the fish into 3 pieces and give the bugbear one, saying, "Are you hungry?" So Skullface, you know, cuts a little bit, uses his dagger, and you see him pull it out, and he cuts it to 3 pieces, and he gives one to Silver, and he takes one to the bugbear. And I see this happen, and we kind of, you know, some of us are watching, mostly everybody's paying attention, but you know, we all notice that Skullface goes over to the bugbear and offers him a piece of fish, and you see the bugbear look up, kind of, you know, depressively, but still there, and he looks to the thing, and he nods, and being that his hands are tied up, he is not able to grab it, but Skullface kind of improvising, you know, just kind of is like, all right, and kind of just, you know. And the bugbear, kind of primal in the sense, you know, gets it, and, you know, takes it and just kind of eats it in one big gulp, and you know, nods his head and thank you.
Can't do anything.
And Skullface smiles and nods. Kinky. I know, right? Be right back. Okay, so Skullface heads back. We all kind of, now is the time to decide who's going to do watch. So we have Skullface doing first watch, right?
How do you know that's how it works? Bubble.
Okay, so I tell the group as we're eating and we're enjoying our meal, and the stars are, you know, illuminating the sky. You know, we're all sitting around enjoying our meal, laughing, talking about, you know, past battles and things that have happened, and partaken in the adventures in the past, and then things that might happen in the future. And then, you know, as that happens, you know, we notice, and we, you know, Monarch looks into the sky and notices a meteor that, you know, just kind of flies, and the shooting star, you know, flies in the sky, and he goes back, and he, you know, and he eats he keeps eating his mushroom, and the rest of us, you know, you kind of hear as the camera backs up to a farther view from the campsite, kind of near the trees, between the trees. You see the water reflecting the fire as the stars light above, and the silhouettes of all the people around, as for now it is about 11:30 at night. And everybody's having a good time, and we start to discuss who's going to do first watch now. So we have Skullface, you're going to do first watch, right? And as Max, I ask, you know, who else volunteers for second and third watch? I'll take third watch. I'll take third. Who wants to take second and fourth? We only need 4 watches. It's about 2 hours each. So I had to look up the mechanic and everything again. So it's about 2 hours each, as long as you take it easy for a total of 6 hours, you will be okay. So you know, you may be sleeping for 4, but then you sleep for another 2 after that, after your watch is over. You know, it kind of goes back and forth. So it's like about 6 hours is all you need really in the game to consider a full long rest, and 8 hours of not really doing anything. Making watch and long rest it can be light activity. It doesn't have to be full sleeping, but that's what long rest is basically. Can I recharge fully at a short rest? I believe you do. Like, I believe that all those abilities you have are, says you have short and long rest. I have to double check though.
Head. I have to reload.
Yep. Your spell slots return on a short rest, but you still need, I believe, for your what's it called?
Reaction-wise.
Well, Hex, that's a concentration spell. The Hex Blade is a bonus action, and the Hex Warrior is after a long rest. So your Hex Warrior is what needs a long rest. So who's taking 2nd and 4th watch? So welcome back, Pro Gamer Guns. We're figuring out who's doing 2nd and 4th watch. I will be doing 3rd watch.
You get that one. Oh, whatever's left.
Short or long rest. Okay, so there you go. Short or long rest. You're good on that. You gain. Once you finish a long rest. So Hex Warrior, the one that gives you you to use your charisma instead of your strength or dex, you need a long rest to have that. You do not get that ability unless it's a long rest. Okay, they are coming a little more often.
What they did, like, originally during dinner that went well was they put me in between 2 first when I didn't have more than 4. Definitely had more than 4 later.
Okay.
They didn't expect.
Good. 2 times in 10 minutes is fine. I'll take 2nd. Okay, Pro Gamer Guns will be taking 2nd, and who takes 4th watch? Being that Monarch is the only one left, that's actually playing right now, so I'm going to make Monarch 4th watch.
Oh, I got it.
It's not the weapon one; it's the using charisma instead of dex. So it's your allows you to move changes through a particular weapon. Yeah. So you finish a long rest, you can touch 1 weapon. So it has to be a long rest. Is Hex Warrior. You have to have a long rest to do it. And then the other one is the Hex Blade's Curse. That can be a short run. That's basically you curse a creature and you get 19 or 20 on the crit, or crit them on 19 and 20, and you regain hit points to your Warlock and Charisma modifier if it dies, but you do not get temporary hit points.
Okay.
But you only get to do that once a day.
No way. Was for me. It was for me. I was getting pretty hit.
Boop. Okay. So, as the night starts to lead on and everybody's full tummies and feeling good, everybody starts to head to bed, and Skullface and Silver are going to are going to take first watch. So Percy goes next to Blue's tent. Blue
Okay.
is I don't know. I didn't really figure whose tents were whose. I'd say that a single tent would be like this one, so this would be Blue's. Pro Gamer Guns is, so I would say Percy's sleeping right here, Molly's sleeping about right here, Pro Gamer Guns is sleeping in her tent, Max and Cowgirl are in their tent. Monarch said he wanted to sleep with the Bugbear. Being as that it's outside, are you sure you want to sleep with the Bugbear, Monarch, and not in a tent or in somewhere, somewhere more restful? Because I'll just say as DM, sleeping outside creates levels of exhaustion. So you will have like negatives on ability checks and stuff like that. Gothix as well gets into his tent with his coffin. I'm just kidding. No, he doesn't have his coffin with him. But Monarch, I'd say Gothix has a tent as well. I kind of want to have people do that just so they're not just sleeping outside on the floor, because that just doesn't happen. We'll have exhaustion levels. Save the tent next to the Bugbear. Okay, so we will put Gothix in this tent right here, and then that tent next to the Bugbear will be Skullface's tent. I didn't really care who took what. I just figured if people wanted to claim one, they can. I don't care. Oh, fuck it. I'll sleep in a tent.
I gotta... No, I'm half.
I already have my weapon chosen, so I'll disappear.
I got a monkey I can throw.
It'll disappear if I don't get a long rest. Yeah. Well, you need to. You will get a long rest once you're. You know, if nothing happens and nothing attacks in the middle of the night and you don't get woken up on your rest, that's how you don't get your spells back. And you know, I'm not gonna be a dick and do that, but sometimes I'll make you guys roll. You know that you need to or I'll roll. You know.
No.
There we go. And then we'll see if something attacks.
I don't have any. That was my last monkey.
Okay, so Skullface. So you're taking first watch, right? And Monarch will go into the bigger sized tent with Gothix, and Monarch and Gothix will sleep next to each other. Gothix throws down a little a piece of clothing or fabric material that's soft and throws it down into a folded square shape, so Monarch can rest upon that and sleep and get some rest. The Skullface. Okay, so Skullface, as you are taking so Skullface, you are taking first watch, and it is getting late, and everybody starts to settle down. You kind of hear the coughing every once in a while of me or Blue or somebody, and you're sitting there, and you hear a rustle in the bushes, and you walk over to it, and you start to hear another cricket as you get closer, thinking, and you grab your sword and you draw your sword, and all of a sudden a bunny comes out of the bushes and pitter patters away, and Silver moves to try and chase, but you kind of put your hand down, and Silver doesn't chase it, for it is long gone, and Silver knows it. About 2 hours pass by, nothing happens. You proceed to go and wake up Pro Gamer Guns. Yep. And Pro Gamer Guns is sleeping, and she is in her, she is in a trance. So Pro Gamer Guns, as an ability of your creature, the character you are a fawn. They have this ability called trance, and what that means is that if you are sleeping for about 4 hours, you only need to sleep about 4 hours basically, and you are semi-conscious while you sleep like this. So you get the long rest effects in a 4-hour sleep. You kind of, through your training and or kind of your abilities as a fawn, you kind of are laying down and you're pretty much meditating. You're sleeping, but you're not. You're a little aware. You're not fully aware, but Pro Gamer Guns, as Skullface comes, you hear him coming, and you kind of sit up, and Skullface moves to you know, kind of flap over your tent gently to wake you up, very gently, and you see the silhouette of the fire behind him, and he kind of jumps for a second as he realizes you are already awake and sitting up, waiting for him to switch, and he kind of, you know, smiles and nods, and you both kind of do this giggle as you realize that you surprised him and he'd never seen that before. So Pro Gamer Guns, you know, puts on her armor, and Skullface in return starts taking off his armor and getting some rest as he heads in, and Skullface heads near the bugbear. As Skullface walks near the bugbear, he listens and he hears the bugbear kind of just sleeping, for what you can tell, and you get into the tent, and you know, you hear the flap of the tent flap down, and Pro Gamer Guns comes out, and Molly also wakes up, being that her master is awake, and perks up, and you prepare for another watch. So Pro Gamer Guns, you are sitting. It is getting quite late. The forest is starting to have this sense of being still, and it's starting to get a lot quieter, and you listen, and as you're looking into the night sky, you start to see shapes, and you start to kind of connect the dots with the different stars, and you notice the moon, and it is in about a crescent shape now, about its third quarter, I believe, and nothing happens. And so your watch is concluded, and you who's next? Max. So you come over to Max, and you kind of open the tent, and you kind of see me just kind of cuddle up with Cowgirl, and you kind of grab my feet, and you kind of shake my feet through the blanket, and I kind of kick, and I'm like, being the whiny self that I am when I get woken up in the middle of the night and grumpy. And I kind of, you hear my voice as I kind of mumble to myself. I'm like, man, I shouldn't have took third watch. I should have took first. and Pro Gamer Guns kind of just like snickers, but you know, turns away as she hears this, and she heads into her tent, and she removes her armor as well, and Molly proceeds to, instead of sleeping more to the side, sleeps in front of the tent, as Pro Gamer Guns cuddles up into her blanket, and Max, you know, putting on my armor, and I'm kind of groggy, and you hear the clattering of my armor, and I step out, and I kind of just like, oh man, I'm like, what time is it? And this voice in my head says, it is now 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. Yeah, 2, 4, yeah. So 4 a.m. and I'm like, fuck. So I'm proceeding. I sit, and I'm listening, and I'm trying not to fall asleep, and so I look, and I'm poking. I grab a stick, you know. I walk over, and I'm kind of being quiet, and I walk over to the left side because there's a lot less people over here, and and the night is very still now, and I grab a twig. I try to break it very silently, to not to wake anybody, and I head back, and I sit on a different chair. This one facing more my back to the water, as I want to have a little better view on the having a second thought in my head throughout the night, as it's been about an hour.
90%.
I say in my sleep, shut up. Shut up, voice in the sky. Max, so wake him up, drag him out. Okay, so you know, and what's it called? I kind of play what I like to call mosquito with my fire, and I'm bored as hell, and I hear people sleeping, and I grab the stick and I put it in the fire, and you know, when you let the fire burn, you have an ember, and then I kind of draw shapes in the sky because I'm bored, and I draw circles, and I draw my name, and then I draw shapes and stuff, and I have a little fun to keep the entertainment going, but nothing happens. And then I proceed to head in to wake up Monarch. Gothix is actually resting, and you know, in a slight, he doesn't really have trance. We always messed around with his vampirism, but I'm gonna say he sleeps. We don't really, I've never read anything in his class racial abilities that doesn't say he sleeps. He does need his long rest and short rest so he can get his abilities back as well. So I will say he's relaxed and sleeping. So I try to head into the tent. The tent is a little bigger. It's made for 2 people. So I try to be quiet, and I kind of see Monarch kind of sleeping like this on his tummy, and his wings are kind of slowly flapping as he breathes in and breathes out, and it's kind of cute. And I feel bad to wake up the poor guy, but I grab and I kind of use a finger and I kind of try to just nice and gently wake him up, and you see his eyes open slowly, and I'm like, hey buddy, it's like it's time for, it's your watch, and he's like, and he's kind of like, oh man, what time is it? And I'm like, I believe it's like 6 a.m. The sun is just about to is coming up now. And he's like, he rubs his eyes, but he's like, okay, all right, thank you, my lord. And I head out, and I kind of just, I take my arm off and I just drop on my bed. And Monarch, comes out, and he comes out, and the flap closes behind him, and he looks at it, and you start to see the stars are mostly gone. There's still some hanging. You see a darker planet. You see the 2 planets, Arios and Phobios. The 2 planets that are kind of orbit our planet as well in the distance. They're pretty close, so they have this really big circle. Kind of looks like this.
At about half. Okay, Justin. Remember, you can self-fire.
It's still really, you see a lot of purple and yellow and orange in the sky. Being is that dawn is one of the prettier, so it's a lot different colors. But that is the 2 planets that we have. But they are orbiting on the far southeastern sky. And Monarch starts his watch, and go ahead, Monarch. I'm gonna roll for him. Hang on. All right, good. So Monarch, comes out, and he sees a really bright, beautiful dawn, and enjoys the sight, and it looks very similar and close to his colors. So makes a groaning noise in his horn. Okay. And I want Silver to wake up with me in the morning for sure. So Monarch, you start to see a very pretty, bright, sun come up, as it is almost 8 o'clock, and I believe
I don't.
I believe it's got to be 10 hours. So 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is actually about 10 o'clock. So I divided the time a little wrong, but it is about 10 o'clock. No, it's about 8 o'clock. We're gonna have to have, I think, another person do watch, which I think that would make it 5. Yeah, it would be 5 times 2 would be 10 hours. Damn it, we need to do that one more time. Sorry, we'll move on from that. So it is about 8 o'clock a.m. right now, Monarch, and you see a beautiful blue or purplish, yet an orange dawn to your east, and that is to the right of the map.
If I go down
and
again, I'm going
as
to
you
lose
sit on the
everything.
log that has been cut years ago, and the fire starts to die down and crackle, nothing happens the night you finish your watch, and everybody starts to wake up, and Skullface gets woken up to the tongue of Silver as he wakes up Skullface, and everybody starts to wake up, and the day has begun, and nothing attacked us. Out of 4 rolls, nothing came in the night, so that was pretty nice. I have my dice now. Shit. I have my dice. No, Wolfie, it is not nighttime anymore. Okay.
Trial.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like the round's almost over. It's been going on forever.
25 years ago.
All right. Everybody wakes up, and we're still pretty good. We don't need to eat. Well, I'd say, yeah, we'd still need to eat breakfast. Like, you know, if we want to go the whole day, if we ate breakfast now, let me say this right now, DM. If we eat breakfast now, we won't need to eat until at least nighttime. We need to eat at least twice in a 24-hour period. At least twice. So it has been about, I'd say, 10 hours. We're gonna go with 10 hours right now. It is now, no, it's been 8 hours. So it's 8 o'clock right now, a.m. It's been 8 hours since we last ate. I'd say we can either attempt to eat now. We can eat our rations. We can move on with the adventure. We can eat our rations. Perhaps buy more prepared food in the future. Because hunting is definitely a task. But otherwise, we can try and hunt again. We can try and fish. You can do whatever the hell you want. So, as we wake up, Max sees the fire starting to die, and you know, heads out to chop some wood and bring some more fire. So I will roll a. I will do this on here. I will roll a Nate survival check, just for the hell of it. It's hard to chop wood. Okay, 10, good enough for me. 10 plus my survival of 1. So 11. I find some wood and I bring some wood back, and I throw some more wood onto the fire. Okay. So Skullface also waking up, putting on his armor. The bugbear. We see the bugbear is still here, thankfully. Silver and Skullface head over to try and get some fish. As they pass by, they see everybody kind of coming out and you know, smiling and talking. And he see Gothix and I are having a conversation together. Monarch is sitting on the log right here. Cowgirl is coming out of the tent as well. She is starting to pack up the tent. Seeing this, I'm going to start packing up the tent with her, and Gothix, following the lead as well, starts to pack up his tent. Monarch, you know, being the good friend that he is, also starts to help packing up the tent. Blue is packing his tent up, and so is Pro Gamer Guns. Everybody is packing up their tents right now, getting up their gear. I throw my dagger. Very good. Skullface right off the bat grabs his dagger and is like, alright, I got a little practice from yesterday, and he's holding the tip of his dagger and he throws it at the fish. Everybody now is recharged. So, Pro Gamer Guns, you have your action surge. I believe I did not count your great map weapons. I didn't add your +2 to your damage. So you would be doing a 1d8 +4 right now with your fighter ability. Fighting style, you chose dueling, so +2 damage with one-handed weapon. So you're actually doing a 1d8 +4 right now with Talon, I believe. Oh no, that's 6, so 8. You're doing a 1d8. Let me double check this. So you do a 4 because of your strength. You do a plus. It does a +2 damage against orcs. Oh, against orcs it does 2 damage. Okay, so you're doing a 1d8 plus 6, because you get 2 more damage. So you're doing a 1d8 +6 right now for your talent. Your Naginata is also a 1d8 +6. Your Naginata is a 1d8 +6. Okay, your Naga. I just need to remember that, because that's yeah, +6. I think that's us doing that. I'll have to make sure, but yeah. And then you also have your second wind. So we have our second wind. Monarch, you have all your inspiration dice. You have your 4 die. You have 5 dice. Monarch, write that down. You have your 5 dice. Yep. 5 dice. I just do this for myself. Skullface, what weapon are you choosing? I take it you're choosing your dagger. Monarch, you also have all your invisibility. You have all your stuff. Everybody has. Cowgirl has her 5 spells back. I also have my action surge. So action surge, what we have Pro Gamer Guns is basically another turn. So if you do some damage on a turn, and in the same turn you want to be like, I want to do action surge to do more damage and do another attack, you can do that and add another and do another. You roll for another attack though. You have to see if you hit. It's not a guaranteed hit, but that's your action surge. your fighter ability, and then you also have what we both have is called Second Wind. Second Wind is a healing of 1d. Fuck is it? 1d8. Oh, your 2 hit dice. 1d10 plus 1d10 plus your plus your fighter level, so +2. 1d10 +2. Yes, your spells are also back, Monarch. You have how many spells you get to do in a day? You get to do 3 spells in a day right now. And your 3 level 1 spells. So any one of the level 1 spells you have: Healing Words, Comprehend, Dissonant Whispers, Bane, and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Your cantrips include Poison Dust and Vicious. So Poison Dust is a cantrip now, not a spell. Remember that now. It is a cantrip spell. I messed up. So what about my basic sword? Yeah, your basic sword is a yes, it is a 1d8 plus
oh my god, I have no idea where.
It is a 1d8 plus 4. The difference between the normal sword you had and your Talon, the one that you have that you got from the cave or the red brand, is that it has a +2 damage when you fight orcs. So it is stronger when it fights orcs. And there's another couple of things it has with it that we haven't looked into, but I think we did, that it will glow within 200 feet of an orc. Like if you pass near orcs within 200 feet, that sword will glow. So as a DM, I would tell you. I grabbed something out of my bag. Yes, you can grab something out of your bag. Absolutely. So Skullface, while he's fishing, as he's fishing, we're packing up our tents. Me and Cowgirl finish up our tents together. Anything you guys needed? You didn't need anything from your tents, right? Before I delete them. Crap. We have 1 fish right now. Again. Rolled an 8. Okay, so Skullface. Let me pull this up. Okay, so Skullface, while he's fishing, after he gets his first fish, he celebrates and he remembers that, oh yeah, I got my my random bag, and so he reaches into his random bag of holding. Let's see what he pulls out. Oh, steamy. Skullface. We rolled an 8. Alright, so Skullface reaches into his bag and he feels around, and he doesn't feel anything for a couple of seconds. He feels this empty void, and all of a sudden this form grabs around and he okay. Oh no. Okay, so he grabs his hat, or he grabs and he feels this this row of this fabric material, kind of thin, and he pulls out this brown hat resembling close to what Monarch has in shape right now, and it comes out and it is called a glamored hat. While wearing this hat, you can use a bonus action to speak its command word, causing it to assume the appearance of any other kind of hat or helmet. You decide what it looks like, including color, style, etc. The illusionary appearance lasts until you use this property again or remove the hat. So this is one of those not so useful items, but you have a hat that changes disguise on itself. It's not as cool as Monarch's. This would basically be the big floppy dick. What the F are you doing? What do you mean? I got the floppy dick. Too cool for you. Well, Monarch's hat not only disguises itself, it disguises him as well. That's the difference between the glamoured hat and the hat of disguise. But you could make it look like a cloak right now, and it would just basically adapt as a cloak, kind of similar to what I have. You know, like right now you have an open. I figured you had a cape-ish because that's what this thing has. You kind of have this raggedy cape. Let's see, make sure it loads. Come on. It's gonna take a second. There we go. I figured you had this kind of cape behind you, but you had an open neck, and then you have your sword, or your dagger right now. You don't have a sword, but that's what I figured. Now you have a hat. Unless you decide not to wear it and put it in your backpack. So I move over after packing up the tent with Cowgirl, and my tummy starts to grumble again, and I head over to Silver and Skullface, and I see Skullface pull out this hat out of his random bag of holding, and I see this look of slight disappointment on his face, and I look. I'm like, "What's that, Skullface? What do you got there?" I love him. Okay. Do you not work? You don't work till Wednesday?
Yeah.
Oh wow, cool though. At least you have some break. That's nice. Enjoy it. That's not true.
Holy crap.
I start to talk to myself again and walk around the camp.
Crap. I thought I was gonna die. When you left, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go call work really
So,
quick 'cause they didn't have to
Skullface,
schedule up.
you know,
Okay, so I
heads
guess
away
you
and starts
see my
talking to
screen now?
himself, and I start to hear this, and I grab Skullface, and I'm like, "What? Who are you talking to, Skullface?" And I grab his shoulder, and my characters, because he did this right in front of my character. My character hearing this, and it's the second time, and I go to him as Max, and I ask Skullface, "What seems to be troubling you, man? You kind of, you know, you're muttering to yourself every once in a while. You're acting distant and talking like you're arguing with yourself. You know, what's going on?"
Survived over fire. Okay, yeah. You wanna do another one?
It's the hat of floppy disks.
If we could like make this. It'll take you a minute. Like you just really need to put on real quick, but I'll show you how to change. Like everything else.
I hear the female voice. So Max asking this question, all of a sudden hears a voice inside his head, and he kind of is confused, and he hears this female voice, and she says, "He's talking to me." I want to, yeah.
So go into your, and then each perk machine just pick.
20.
Oh my gosh, that one's.
Okay, so I forgot that you still had the skull face. Are you, as DM, are you still doing the skull face? I didn't know you were doing the skull face with the because the backstory is kind of changing with the bones and stuff like that. I thought you didn't have the skull face anymore.
Damage and armor over time while inside.
Oh, it comes from skull. Oh, from his mouth. Oh, I get it. So it's like split personality. Got it. Never mind. Okay, so Skullface, you know, says, you know, I hear, says it, you know, he says his voice, and it's a female voice, and this female voice says to me that you know, he's talking to me, and I kind of am thrown back, and I'm like, and I kind of like, what, you know, I'm like, and who is me?
Charge, slide into enemy trigger. It's so much more dangerous.
And if there's anything else you guys want to do while this is going on, you can. You're not limited to waiting for Skullface. You guys can do what you want to do. None of you guys are seeing this right now anyway.
I have like pro gift. Power-ups last longer. No.
She proceeds to say, I am Lilith. I am the Hexblade. And I remember, and I hear the words Hexblade, and as Max, we've had this conversation in the past about where Skullface is, you know, in the banquet hall one time when we were, you know, it was a very quiet night. We had a talk, and Skullface had told me about how he had received his powers and the little bit of background to him about how his parents had sold him into slavery as a young child, that they wanted to have a child at any cost, and at any cost that they would have a child, and a sword or a demon blade appeared, you know, that they heard a knock at their door, and they opened the door, and seeing nothing in front of them, they were confused for a second. All of a sudden a blade flies past them between both parents and lands in the wall behind them, and proceeds to have this green, darkish black aura, and a female voice calling herself Lilith, the demon blade, tells the parents and makes them an offer to give them a child, but it would cost them, and it would cost them dearly. But they were, you know, impatient and not seeing into the future, just agreed to this and they proceeded to make the deal. And when she had her child later, Skullface was born, but he was not born human. He was born a blue hellspawn, a tiefling warrior, a tiefling with a tail and horns, his little baby horns, a little tail. And his parents were horrified at the sight of this. And they were very pissed. They were not happy with the deal, and they heard the voice of Lilith laugh. But more into that later. But as we Skullface gets his power from the Hexblade's curse and the deal that his parents made to have him. That is what gives him his power, and this blade is starting to as he has grown of age, starting to talk to him through him a little more. But this is something that gets explained to me, and your characters do not hear this. And I proceed to have a conversation with this demon, and I recognize the name. I recognize the Hexblade, but I had not heard the name yet. Lilith is what she tells me, and Max kind of is taken back, and a conversation ensues about how she wants, you know, to work through Skullface, and we kind of we talk about that for a little while. While that is going down, Monarch proceeds to go find. Go ahead, Monarch. Roll a 20. For nature or for survival, Monarch starts to head into the forest to the right a little bit. We're gonna zoom out a little more.
So go into your laboratory, and
Monarch heads into some trees and bushes to this side. Go ahead, Monarch. And Pro Gamer Guns, what were you doing? I want to investigate the bushes in the water. Skullface or Pro Gamer Guns walks up to the bushes in the water, and she's not investigating. This is a nature check, so we will do nature. You rolled a 8 with nature. with your nature being... I moved you around a little bit. Your nature is a +0. It's a bunch of plants in the water. That's what you deduct.
Yeah, so our special
It's a bunch of plants in some water. It's the best you can tell. Rolled an 11. Very good. Plus your nature, my friend, which is actually pretty high. You chose proficiency as a 6. So Monarch finds some more mushrooms, and he proceeds. Go ahead and Monarch roll a 20 again, and let's see what kind of. You find some mushrooms. They are again a red top.
Oh,
+0. Yes, it is.
Check your antlers, because we haven't had it yet. So you can.
She has nature is a wisdom based thing, and she's invested. Intelligence. Sorry, nature is intelligence, and she has wisdom. She doesn't have intelligence. She has wisdom. Monarch rolls a 7, so you've 7 plus 8, 9, 10, 11. Very good. Okay, so Monarch, you recognize them again. It seems like this you find another little small puddle. Near this puddle, you see a bunch of clumps of rocks and small thinner trees. As the sun starts to shine, and you see the beams of light and the sun start to shine and reflect a little on this small little pond, nothing too big, and you see a cluster of mushrooms, and you find them, and you start to pluck them and engaging in some closer looks. You recognize it as a bleeding crown, and you recognize these as actually poisonous mushrooms that can lower health, and they have this reddish maroon shape that kind of is darker than the rest of the mushroom on top, and it kind of bleeds down, and you find some poisonous bleeding crown. Go ahead and write that down in your backpack.
That's a crap thing too.
Says, I do not wish to take over my friend here anymore now. We work together as more like companions. And hearing this, I get a sense of great power from her, but I'm not thoroughly convinced. Go ahead, Skullface. Go ahead and roll a charisma check. Not a deception, but a persuasion roll. Go ahead and roll with advantage. Being is that 2 creatures are trying to convince me right now.
I have so many upgrades.
Roll a 1. Roll with advantage, so roll twice. And pick the best roll. Oh yeah, give you a sec for sure.
I was just looking through my armory.
It is called Bleeding Crown.
But I think the gun that I had, is the V. I have like almost every attachment unlocked. The gun in the game. Not base, so yeah, that's all.
I'll just roll for you so we can get this going.
Really?
Okay. No, never mind. That's mean. That was bad. You can't do that. That would of course that would be a shitty roll, huh? Because Max is a shitty roller. Can't have someone else roll dice for you, so I'll let that fly. I'm gonna roll dice here though. What exactly are we doing right now? Right now, Monarch is hunting for mushrooms. I am talking to Skullface and the demon Blade that has taken, or that is working with him and then given him his power. And what were you doing? I don't know what you said you were doing. I asked if you wanted to do anything. I think you... Oh yeah, you investigated stuff. We're about to start heading out here. We were just kind of doing some story for Skullface, his background. Get on. Still 12. All right, so 12 is decent. So I hear this and I kind of tell Lilith and I say, all right, well, as long as you know he doesn't it doesn't become a problem. I tell her, as long as it doesn't become a problem, I'm okay with it. But the minute that I start to see him turning anywhere or evil or dark, we will have to have this talk once more. You know, and I proceed to say, not that I'm a Boy Scout or anything, but I think you know what I mean. If you've been here this whole time, listening to what we've been going on and watching him, you've probably heard some of the things that I've said and how I like to, the values I believe in. You hear this both as one. Got it. Okay, so that happening, you know, the light proceeds to the glowing dark aura recedes, and Skullface, the female voice that is mixed upon Skullface's voice, fades, and you just hear Skullface's voice, and we head back together. Me a little more concerned, but being is that I don't want to cause alarm for everybody else, we all head back together, and we currently have one fish. We have some bleeding crown mushrooms. We were basically trying to eat Skull Pro Gamer Guns. We were gonna try and fish and eat before we head out on our day's adventure. Because basically what we do is we eat in the morning, we eat at night. Since we ate last night, I mean, I guess we can, you know, we don't have to, but it basically means we don't have to eat again until nighttime. Then I won't make us eat for another 12 hours after that. She says, of course I have. Alright, very nice. I accepting that answer, I smile, and that answer pleases Max. Okay, so I think we need to still hunt some more, so we head back to the camp and we realize that, oh crap, we only have one fish, and I proceed to head back, and I want to give an attempt to see if I can stab a fish with my sword as well. I don't have a dagger, but I have a light sword, and I'm going to attempt to catch a fish too, so I kind of try to stay on the edge of the water. I ain't trying to, you know what, in fact, I see the log that Monarch stood on, and I walk over to the log, and it's decently balanced. It's not falling over, but I am going to risk this and do a dexterity saving throw. Let's see here. 20. Very good. The log starts to shift a little bit and move, but then I grab my holding and I sit on top of the log, and I'm okay. I don't fall in the water. Because I like to do that.
No. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, happy. I know, school. Yay. Boo. If only it was a fish. You get like 2. Yeah, so I did a dex. I didn't do a I didn't do. I wish I would have saved it for the actual fish, but I'm on the log. I'm balanced. I'm holding my balance, and I see the fish because I want to attempt to get a little deeper. So I see the fish in front of me, and it's starting to come, and I go and I get ready with my sword and to kind of stab it in with a motion. So I'm kind of holding it like this way, and I'm ready to stab it downwards in a downwards motion. Roll 14, very good. I stabbed the fish, and it's decently sized. It's about medium size again fish, and I stabbed through it, cutting a decent size into it. But I pull out the fish, and you kind of hear it wiggling on the sword as I splashes me in the face, and I walk back, and I head over to the camp, and I throw. Cowgirl, you know, wants to get ready to cook the fish, so the pan is still dirty from yesterday, so she heads to the water and she washes the pan over here and gets the pan ready for another bunch of grilling, and cleans it up and heads back and puts the pan on the fire to get it hot, and pulls out some more spices and that, and we have 2 fish now. Anybody else want to help capture some fish? We need fish. I cut up the fish and feed some of it to Silver and some to the bugbear. Alright, so we're cooking the fish, and we have 1 fish cooking. Skullface starting to cook the first fish.
I gave an arrow and I want to shoot it.
You want to come over to the... You want to try fishing too, baby?
Yes.
Okay, so Cowgirl's like, all right, well, I saw everybody else have a lot of fun fishing yesterday, so I'm going to, she ties her rope, you know, it's a little thicker. I would say it's the kind of rope that could hold us, so it's a little too thick. But go ahead and roll a 20, babe, to see if you grab your arrow and you start to,
And you have plenty of that,
you know,
so give some time.
see if she can pierce a fish. Roasted on a stick. Okay, so Skullface grabs a stick as well. Skullface, go ahead and roll a nature check. See if you find a stick. With advantage. Ow. What? A 20. Yes, with your nature. What's your or your survival? What's your survival?
Survival?
Yeah. 4. Go ahead and roll a 20 plus 4. 7.
Plus 4.
Yep, you got it. Okay, sweet. So, a Cowgirl seeing the Nacht as she's starting to see the fish, and the sun is, you know, starting to, you know, get a little higher. It's still pretty early in the morning. It's about 8 in the morning, so the sun is still pretty low. She sees the reflection of the sun, and she sees the movement of the fish, and it starts to kind of slow down, and she leads the fish and gets and releases, and boom, gets the fish. Double or nothing. And seeing another one, she grabs quickly with her momentum to try and shoot another one right next to it, and pew, gets a second fish. All right, 2 fish. Boom, 20. All right, so that is how many fish? 1, 2, 3. Well, you got 2 fish in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. Yeah, so we have about 4 fish right now. Okay. What are you rolling for? I cut up the fish and feed some to Silver. You don't need to roll for that. Oh, you rolled to... Okay. You did not found a stick. I'm just kidding. But it takes you a little while, and you search, and the fish is already starting to cook for everybody else, and by the time you find a stick and make it back, you notice that everybody else is already snacking on at least some pieces of fish, and you get none. No, I'm just kidding. No, you start to cook yours a little later than everybody else's. Pro Gamer Guns, you doing anything? Monarch starts. Are you heading back from finding mushrooms?
All right, let's go. So anticipated, about time being money. What do you need?
No, I meant that you didn't get your fish onto the stick until you, or didn't get your fish onto the fire until you.
Shut your face.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, so Philip. Yeah. Ew, isn't that fancy? Let's start off with milk. Yay!
Okay, so Monarch proceeds to start looking for another couple of mushrooms out there, and
Everything else roll.
go ahead, Monarch, go ahead and roll 20 for endless survival. The fish is tasty, good. Everybody's sitting around enjoying some fish. Skullface is now catching up to everybody.
Where we hang. You have to buy the perk. I start off with meal. I got a little artifact thingy that gave it. Didn't?
Rolled a 2. So Monarch's looking around and he can't seem to find any more mushrooms. About an hour proceeds to pass. Monarch hasn't eaten yet. Everybody's starting to eat now and getting full, and Skullface is just finishing. It is now about 9 o'clock.
I had a ton of gumbo. Oh, I'm gonna wait. Martin.
I investigate the pond for valuables. So Pro Gamer Guns, go ahead and roll a 20. Do an investigation check. Pro Gamer Guns gets up after eating and walks over to the pond and proceeds to look around and rustle through the different plants that are nearby. Of course, she does not know what kind of plants they are. Bless you. And yeah, you can if you want. Rolled a 16, very good. Pro Gamer Guns, you proceed to look around. You see some plants and bushes, and you find some frog eggs, and you find this little cluster of eggs that are not hatched yet. But you don't really find anything of value or anything like that. Or you find some frog eggs. You find some frogs and From what you can tell, they are frog eggs. Initial investigation. All right. Anything else you guys want to do? Because I will start packing it up. I'd say we get out of here. Frog eggs, you say? Yeah. Go ahead and write that down. You can take them. Do you wish to take them? I think they're goopy and shit. They might dry or something. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I would like to fry them up. Okie dokie. So, what is it? So the pan with the eggs, or pan with the fish, is still on the fire. It is empty. There is still a little char on it from the fish that had been put on it, and there's definitely some residue of fish and different oil and skins from the fish in the pan currently. All right, so Monarch, not finding anything. It's been about an hour. Monarch has not eaten yet, and it comes back to find everybody's bellies full.
Like, when is running to the rough ever again? I'm gonna kill that zombie.
So the day, it's about 9 o'clock, 9:10. You start to hear some birds. The forest is starting to get a little more lively, and I start to say, all right, guys, we've had a good little rest. I think we're all ready for the next step. We're gonna be trying to find Cragmaw Castle. I guess we're gonna take, the bugbear, has agreed to take us, and so he will hopefully not be leading us into any traps. But I do say something, and I kind of pull everybody together, and I kind of wave everybody over, and I, as King Max, I pull in everybody, and I start to kind of talk in a lower voice so the bugbear doesn't hear us. And as everybody kind of moves in and pulls in, I start to say in a lower voice, and I go, guys, all right, we don't know what we're walking into. For all we know, we could be walking into a trap. But if this place is anything what it sounds like a heavily fortified area. So my best, advice to everybody is that we move in very, very quietly. I would, as Max would, I think it would be smart, as everybody else would not agree, that we should not probably go running at this castle. Now, as the DM, I'm going to say, as Max, or as Matt Martin, that if that's what you guys want to do, then that's fine. Just let me know. Do what you want to do. There's actions for whatever the hell goes down. So back as Max, I say, okay, so I'd say we be careful walking up to this place. All right. The animals also kind of walk in and kind of instinctually listen. Not that they really understand, but they kind of do. They know that we're being serious. They care for us. And we are all having this serious tone right now, and we're kind of having real talk right now. Monarch lands on Pro Gamer Guns' head because he's kind of bigger and she's still about decent medium size.
Could have seen it.
You hear a female voice mumble, good. I'll snack on some mushrooms. Alright, so as we're talking, Monarch eats, some mushrooms, and Monarch, I believe you're at full health, right? Yep. Okay, so, with that, I'd say we pack up when we start going. Everybody? Yeah? Who wants to lead the I can lead first. I'd say that's alright. I'll take this bugbear, so if that's what everybody's ready to go do, we can start heading out. Skullface, starts to head over to pack up this tent, with Silver, following close. Silver keeping an eye on the bugbear, the bugbear kind of up. You know, Skullface said earlier, I believe you said that you gave some to the bugbear raw, I believe though, right? Or you wanted to do it cooked? Can I cast Bespeak? Yeah, you will do what you want to do, just let me know. I cast Bespeak and feed the 3 I fed. Okay, so as Skullface walks over to the tent and everybody's kind of talking and stuff, Skullface you know, proceeds to remember these powers that he had learned recently, and wills and thinks to himself, and casts Bespeak. So he sits there in his tent for about 10 minutes passes by. Everybody starts to wonder a little bit about what's going on. Gothic's heading over, starts to you know, head in at right around the time the ritual ends, and Skullface kind of draws this incantation in the ground and these symbols, and he concentrates on this spell, and he casts this newfound power of his warlock evocation called Beast Speak. So he may speak to animals for I believe it is a 10-minute duration. It takes him 10 minutes to cast it. It is an ability that he is able to talk to animals if he likes to. So he casts Bespeak right now, and he looks to Silver and he says,
"But I gave it to you."
Gothic's coming in. You know, after telling everybody, I'm gonna go check on him, see what the hell he's doing. Hello, Silver. Silver responds in a kind of he turns his head in confusion, being that he had never heard or understood your voice before, but he is taken back, but he answers you and he says, "Hello, boy." It's about time. I understand words coming out of your mouth. I guess a thank you is in order.
When I stand still, that little like boost shows up.
For saving my life back there.
It's an armor boost.
My family. My family didn't survive. I was brought up as a pup there. Holy shit, it worked. Skullface kind of yells, and as they are talking to each other, Skullface is talking to him telepathically. I believe that's how the power kind of works, is that he is able to talk to him and say things and they hear it back. Like, nobody can understand this, only Skullface can understand this. Silver proceeds to go on and say, let's get this straight, boy. I may be thankful and I owe you a debt for saving my life, but I'm the alpha. Let's get that straight. Skullface proceeds to, before hearing that, you know, says, "I'm sorry, you know, for your family," and Silver still answers in a harsher tone. I wait for your response. All right. As that's going down, we proceed to,
I can get a second one.
I walk over as well. Gothix, hearing this, kind of is like, you know, heard Skullface say it out loud, holy shit, it worked. And Skullface is, or Gothix is kind of like, what worked? And Skullface answers him, he goes, I've learned a power called Beast Speak. And as he's saying this to Gothix, I am walking up to the bugbear, and I overhear this, and I kind of walk closer, and I just kind of say to myself, man, this guy's just full of surprises. And he proceeds to tell Gothix, and I overhear it, and as I walk over, that he can speak to animals now for a short duration of time. I kind of gain this sense,
There we go.
holy shit, it worked. I'm sorry about your family. Leader.
Good assault rifle, isn't it?
A leader. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so,
I was picking up something crappy.
what's it called? So, Silver, you know, Silver says that to Skullface, and we don't hear it, and as this is going down, I reach over to the bugbear, and I grab the bugbear, and I lift him up, and he kind of grunts as I lift him up. He's a big guy. I help him up to get to his feet. I get him to his knees, and he gets his knees on, and he kind of, I help him kind of get that momentum to kind of lift himself up off of his knees. And I proceed to grab the rope that is tied to him around the tree. I go behind, I untie, I've untied all that, and we head to the camp with the rope attached to him. So there is a rope about, I believe this is Cowgirl. Whose rope is this? This is Pro Gamer Gun's rope, right? Isn't it? This is somebody's rope. Did we figure out? I can't remember whose rope this was, but this is definitely somebody's rope. Yeah. Okay. No, it didn't send. Okay. I wish to be your companion. I don't want to be your leader or boss. I just want to be your friend. Okay, and Silver, hearing this, Silver starts to give you this impression that he is an older wolf. He may have been grown up in being grown up in captivity, and being grown to be chained in a dark cave and fed scraps for most of his life, has made him very cross. So in saying this, he proceeds to answer you in a very short, direct tone, and to say, well, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see who's really a friend of who, or if you're not just using me in battle to save your own skin. Because if humans have taught me one thing, is that they are never to be fully trusted. I do find myself, attached to you for a reason, but God only knows why. The 7 gods only know why. The 7 old and the 7 new. Hearing this, Skullface, proceeds to try and say something, but Silver has decided that he's not really going to answer, that he's kind of, is quiet on his end, and kind of just gives this sense of that let's get this going, let's get this moving, like we'll see how things go. Okay, so let's go packing order. So I'll lead the charge with this fool. We'll pack it up, get that packing order right. So we'll have him lead with me in front. Oh crap. So, packing order. Where does everybody want to be in the list of how we're walking down the path? We're going to be heading south. The Pro Gamer Guns in blue head to, you know, they grab some leather, their leather drinking pouches, and they both fill them with water after everybody else had already done so, and they come over to the fire, and they, you know, the fire's been put out, but it is still kind of smoking, and they both proceed to douse the fire and put out the fire. We now have the fire put out as we start to head out. So I will assume blue will be top left again, wherever you want to go. Silver and where do you guys want to be? Cowgirl will probably most likely be next to me again. Monarch. I would die for my friends. Okay. And saying that, the last thing you hear Skullface as he goes, you say to him in your bespeak that I want to be your friend, and you kind of hear this laughing scoff, you know, as he walks with you. Gothix proceeds to jump onto his mount as well. Monarch, where's your packing order? Pro Gamer Guns, oh god. Don't like this one. Think. Oh god. Oh yeah, caviar. So Pro Gamer Guns proceeds to also finish up before we put out the fire. She fries up. She washes the pan. She takes the pan to the, you know, and washes it, and she fries up some these eggs, and she uses a little bit of seasonings that from leftover from Cowgirls. And Pro Gamer Guns, you now have a clump of fried caviar. Or fried frog eggs. You can put that in your... You can add the word fried to your backpack. I will suffice it as a snack if you want to eat it, or maybe alchemic production later. Since it's fried now, I don't think it's alchemic production is the same, but who knows? Okay. As in initiative. No, I mean packing order as in like how we're walking down the path. Okay. So we start to head out. We are heading about north off the Tribord Trail, heading south off the Tribord Trail. We come to a fork, not a fork, but a T in the road. Monarch and Skullface read the sign, and it says to the left, Old Owl Well, and Coneberry, right? So the sign says Coneberry, and Old Owl Well, and the bugbear proceeds to answer, and he goes, we take a left, and we head towards Coneberry Hill, and Coneberry Hill, or Coneyberry, sorry, and Coneyberry, and to past the Everwood Forest, and the Everwood Forest would be to our left as we head through. So we're on the path right now, and we take a left, and the party starts to head down this path, and the forest is starting to get dense. It's to our left. You know, Pro Gamer Gun starts to see these reddish trees that start to gather and something, and the trees start to kind of have a different variation in color as
it usually gives us something.
See here.
It's progression. Something, because if you hit
and you know we walk past a pond and we let's see here. Oh no. Oh no.
We might as well take it again.
Oh no. Our girl called it.
Oh, you already lost your dice?
Yes. I put it down somewhere.
Your D20?
My D20, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, damn it.
Go,
My D20. My fucking D20.
Should be
Now I'm mad. Fine, I'll use the computer.
There you go.
Oops, well, that works too. Okay, good. All right, so you know, we head down. That we're heading now we're heading more east on the map, where the sun is basically up to our right. You know, the cool breeze is starting to blow from behind us, and we start to get to this part in the trail, and the bugbear kind of halts, and he holds still, and he kind of calls back to me as he's tied to the rope, and he says, you know, okay, we need to head, you know, from this direction. We need to head deeper into the forest to the left and head north into the forest, back towards Phandalin, into the forest. This is, you know, this is the way towards this is the way towards Cragmaw Castle, and we head into the forest, and we follow him in. And the forest is starting to get really dense. You know, this is no longer a trail. Like, we start to not see Pro Gamer Guns and Molly, and I proceed to whistle to Pro Gamer Guns. I know, and Pro Gamer Guns hears it, and what do, Pro Gamer Guns? You hear the whistle from the king as you're flying. You're soaring above the air. You're on Molly. You see Percy to your side, and you hear somebody whistle from the brush of the forest. Nope, that's not it. Okay, I walk last. Monarch, would you have to sprint? You would have to sprint, right? Okay, all right. Well, he flies. He's got the flying speed. What are you rolling for? I'm looking for something.
Let's go split up.
Thought this was supposed to be open forest, but it's not. Damn it all to hell. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I got a second one. Hit the box, hit the box.
So, we're about right here. This is where I call Pro Gamer Guns down. And
Sometimes
we're
I take it and hit it if I don't have anything.
We're facing towards the north. And Monarch and Cowgirl notice a kind of ruined tower to our left, and it kind of shines, and you kind of see the overbrush grow over this old ruins. These reminds you of the old kingdom that used to be in these lands, and we kind of. Oh God, we're all upside down. Huh. Fine. And just keep it like this, just so we're all here.
It's not up here.
Pro Gamer Guns, are you here? I don't think she's here. Okay, so I call Pro Gamer Guns down, and she flies down, and so does Monarch, or so does Percy and Blue. They follow the lead, and they come down, and you hear them kind of stomp to the ground. And I proceed to walk up to both of them, and I tell them that, hey, the force is getting really thick now. You know, if you guys want to, you guys might want to think about just walking with us, or flying overhead and just, you know, stay vigilant. I mean, I think we'll be okay, but just if you hear me whistle, then, you know, come down quickly, and you guys can keep an eye out, you know, above the trees. You know, that's totally fine too. Did I lose everybody? What were you rolling for, Skullface? Well, Peekaboo. I lost everybody. I'm here. So, what were you rolling for, Skullface and Pro Gamer Guns? Okay, so, Monarch is here. Okay, so Monarch.
Get over there.
And Skullface. Oh, weird. It says Maxamillios rolled a 15. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I saw Skullface. What did I roll for? Oh yeah, to see if something was coming. Okay. Yay. I'm like, what did I roll for? Okay, let me pull this back up. So we're heading through the forest, and you know, we're kind of going at a slower pace now, and the bugbear tells us that we're getting close, you know, to the Cragmaw Keep, and he tells us to start, that we're gonna need to not fly. Like they might spot us from afar. They might spot the Griffin, and so before Pro Gamer Guns and Monarch, or Pro Gamer Guns and Blue head out, you know, we kind of, you know, I was going to, as Max, let them, but the bugbear actually tells us and gives us, he goes, you may not want to do that. If you do that, you might be seen from very far.
Okay, so that's gonna be electrical.
The goblins may be stupid, but the hobgoblins that reside with us are not. And you know, we hear that, and I look to Monarch, or I look to Pro Gamer Guns, and I look to Goth or Blue, and I say, okay, well, there you have it. So you guys are gonna need to walk in this forest, and we're gonna need to sneak up on these guys a little.
Why don't you hit it?
And so
since I can donate. And if I roll, I can get.
So they land, and we're all together, and I'm kind of going off of it because I don't think that. Yeah, she's not here. Is now hosting me. Oh, what's up? Welcome back, Saphira. I'll stay farther behind the group as an aerial view. Okay. Okay. Wait, did you say goblins? He said hobgoblins. There are goblins though too. Okay, so I just realized I fucked up on that. So anyway, we start to follow him, and we go through the forest, and we, you know, we're brushing through. It's getting, you know, and it's about, I'd say, almost about 5 o'clock by the time, you know, we didn't see any creatures. We didn't see any creatures. We, you know, nothing really bothered us even in the daytime, and we start to see this castle, and it starts to the silhouette of a broken down castle and keep that only about one tower is intact. We see it on a hill a little farther out, and we as we get closer, it starts to illuminate, and the bugbear tells us that there,
Go to the prison.
straight ahead. Now I've brought you here. You see the castle. Now you said you promised you'd let me go. Alright, so we're at that kind of pivotal moment right now where we need to decide if we're gonna let him go or we're gonna what are we gonna do? So, here you go. Here's Cragmaw Castle. We currently have come from the south end of it, so that would put us out here in the bottom in the corner in these brush right here. Damn it, all the hell. Okay.
Show where. Gotta be down.
Let him go. All right. I get my dagger and ready to cut him loose. All right. Everybody agrees. Okay. So the bugbear, you know, with one fell swoop, Skullface pulls out his dagger and kind of does another spin and kind of has it facing backwards and comes up to the bugbear and goes behind the bugbear and proceeds to cuts the bugbear loose.
What was the other one?
I watching over this, you know, I nod and Cowgirl nods as well. We all are kind of, you know, we're low.
So,
They don't see us. It is daytime.
oh.
Molly is over here. Pro Gamer Guns. Gothix is in a tree watching the castle.
Almost died.
Good luck, my friend. I hope you live a good life, says Skullface, as the bugbear, you know, proceeds to kind of, you know, take his out, and he looks to his arm, and
I'm sorry. I
and,
almost died.
and we kind of like, we all kind of see it that he looks to his arm, but you can see that he's thankful for living, and you know, kind of assesses his possibilities that he could have, you know, be dead. So he kind of has a small grin to his face, and he kind of winks to the group, and as he like from the left side of his eye back towards us, and kind of just walks off, and you see his form disappear as he heads deeper into the bushes. And he does not attack us, nor does he cause a scene. Thank God. Okay. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at Cragmaw Castle. I pulled in my group. I kind of start talking to everybody again in that low, kingly voice of mine, as when we're trying to we're scheming. My scheming voice. And I bring in the group, and we kind of have this moment together. Let me move my face out of the way, where we all kind of take a look at each other, and we are like, okay, so here it is. So what we God damn it, we probably want I tell the group, we probably want all the intel we can get of this place. We need to figure out how many people are inside. We need to figure out what is, you know, what is even this place? We've only really seen the tower destroyed from the side. We see you as you look towards the castle. You see broken down walls and sections of piled rubble from afar. You also see a slight you see like what a common keep looks like, with stone walls, arrow slits, a couple of various doors, windows, but a lot of it cracked and aged. Before this is it looks like at first glance a very old castle, broken down, not fully not a full what's it called, fully built castle, but it looks like it's useful nonetheless.
What?
Good luck, my friend. I treated him well. I think that helped it. Yeah, it did a little bit. He doesn't have an arm, but he's okay. What's up, Saphira? Okay, so currently we are sitting outside this castle. We have the group with us. We're getting ready to do stuff. So what is the plan? What do you guys want to do? This is that part where I can't really do everything anymore. I have given you the advice. Now you guys take it away and play the game. Because I know everything, so my character will make decisions here and there, but mostly my character, don't look for him to set the initiative of what to do.
We finished the dogs? Because I never saw that before.
Because I know what to do.
That's cool.
Since there's only, I think, 2 of you playing right now, you guys have full reign.
Right?
I think Pro Gamer Guns, we lost her or something. She passed out.
I bet you it is. I bet you it goes.
I mean, honestly, maybe we should call it. It's 10:20. We're here at the castle. We're all fully rested. Maybe we can do it tomorrow. I mean, if nobody else shows up. But, I mean, I could try and get on at a decent time. You know, I want to keep in the shadows and look for a secret entrance. Okay. So, I'm fine with that. Like, even I know there's a delay. So Skullface, are you heading by yourself or just with I assume it's just you right now?
Gondola's here.
Investigation roll. So basically, you don't just do a roll. You got to try and describe to do something. You got to, what are you investigating? What are you trying to do? It's not as simple as I just want to roll. I'm not, snapping at you. I'm just saying it's not as simple as just, oh, I want to roll and see if I get answered with something.
Oh my gosh,
you have to try and be creative on how you want to get your answer or what you're looking for. If it was as simple as rolling for your answer, it wouldn't be a fun game.
And then I'll just switch to my other one.
So, so Coalface starts to proceed to head towards, as he sticks to the shadows. Go ahead and roll a stealth check, Skullface, right now. You have plate armor, so you have a -5 to stealth right now, right? -5 points, I believe. You have breastplate, no, bespeak, witch bolt, hex, cantrips. God damn it! What you don't have armor, right? What do you? You're wearing half plate armor. -5 to stealth roll. There it is. Unless Monarch wants to come with. So if you both want to come with, that is a good idea. You guys can do some reconnaissance. Both roll for stealth if you want to go with them, Monarch.
Round 35 or so, they crap out.
Okay, so Skullface, right now you are not stealth. So, what is the next thing you want to do?
With this perk, I get like extra armor on me. As long as I don't.
Let's see here. So 5. Well, let's see here. 5. So that's 1. Yeah.
I sent you the Snapchat of it. It's just a blue circle, and I wonder, like, since you're technically in the right now,
Monarch, do you want to try and stealth?
Just helps.
I can try and stealth as well. I'll follow your lead. I'll go with you guys, and I will. But I have plate armor as well, so I have a -5 to my stealth rolls as well. 11 -5. Nope. That's a big fat nope for Maxie and Skullface. Monarch, go ahead and roll 20 for stealth. I'm totally cool with that, Skullface. You want to strip and fuck, you want to do that? I'm totally cool with that. Way to be creative. So Skullface comes back to the group, and he takes off his armor.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to reload.
He goes down in AC, so you're 16 and it's your dex is 13 or 3, so you have a 13 AC right now. A 13 you have a 13 armor class right now, so it takes 13 to hit you. Go ahead and roll again.
I figure you had your roll.
I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow your example, and I'm going to strip naked too. I'm just going to take off my armor. Alright, so I'm going to take off my armor. I have a negative. I'm going to come back and be like, well, son of a bitch, and take my armor off.
Justin, we both need to throw our tomahawks next time we do that. Yes, I did. I wanted to see. And it's more straight up here.
Alright, Bonar roll is 16, very good, and you rolled a 10. Plus, what's your stealth, Skullface? Your stealth is a 13, that's an okay number, so...
Yeah, I have it set up 13, that way, so I go through my first gun,
so here's
and
the
then my
thing.
second one. So I have the
Here's the thing, this is, I'm just going to say this is a DM.
It
It counts as a stealth roll, but this is the number versus their passive perception. Now, you don't know what their passive perception is. So if that number you rolled is higher than their passive perception, right now, things that are just sitting around not paying attention, now that's depending on if it is or not paying attention. If it happens to be a goblin not paying attention, he would, you know, it depends on what his passive perception is. You rolled a 13 for your stealth roll, so I'm going to roll also, but I have my 17 is my dex, so 14. I have a 14 armor class. I have 4 in my dex, so it's always 10 versus your plus your dex. That's your armor. Or actually no. I think it is though. It's 8 plus 2 plus your dex. We can double check into that, but I will I'm pretty sure it's 10 plus the thing, so alright. How about that? Okay. I rolled a 9, so I do have stealth. I just have a -5. I invested in stealth, so I have a +6 in stealth, but I had the -5 and I rolled shitty, so it didn't matter earlier. So, but this +6 plus my 9, 10, 11, 12, so that's 15. I just got a 15 stealth roll. I almost would take that. Monarch, you got a 16 plus your stealth. What's your stealth? 3. So you got a as well. Jesus. So Monarch is the most stealthiest right now, I would say. Very good. Okay. So I look to my group and I go, all right, guys, I think this is, you know, we're a little more stealthier. So we have just have our shoes and we don't have our armor on. We're a little more vulnerable, but we're very quiet and we are stealthed right now. Go ahead, everybody roll a perception check real quick.
I had like ray gun, maybe 10 shotgun.
I want to disguise myself as a smaller butterfly. Absolutely. So Monarch does that and completely uses his hat of disguise to make himself look like a normal sized butterfly. Very good. Oh, I don't like this song anymore. Oh.
Figure it's early levels, you're good. Ammo! No, we're
My
not
face is
okay.
behind Percy. That's why. Okay, that's why there's the white line. I'm like, why?
For like 10 levels
Okay,
now.
so what are you rolling for? I want to put my hat and make it a bush hat. Oh, okay. Okay, alright. So let's do this. I like it. So this is what you're gonna do. You both are going to forget what you okay, you rolled a 19 and Monarch rolled a 6. So I'm gonna keep Monarch's 19 and say you guys rolled with advantage, and I'm gonna up Skull Faces because he did the second roll and he did 19, so plus plus his stealth.
I would see probably like 10 or so. Like
so 19,
right
20, 21, 22. So that's a way better
and then
stealth
you would have
roll.
like, oh, but you hit this
22.
one in the arm, so it was like half coming towards you. You know how they.
So 22, and Skull Face is Skull Face is 22.
Give that.
Monarch is 19, and I don't have any good ideas like that.
Does it ever pop up for you?
Monarch can make me invisible.
Okay.
For how long?
It's one of our abilities?
No, Monarch can go invisible.
Oh, okay. Mine looks like
Monarch can go invisible once per long rest.
Knives.
He can make me fly though. All right, so Skullface has a 22 and Monarch has a 19 and I have a 13. I might hang back a little bit. So Monarch and Skullface, you guys proceed to head up a little bit. I'm gonna stay a little back, and you come up to the edge of the bushes, and you go ahead and roll both of you perception checks.
Have to reload.
Can you walk past them? You are hidden, but it is daylight, so I will be giving things that are looking for stuff advantage because it is daylight, and that is a very open space.
Huh?
Roll the 1.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Skullface.
Reload everything.
Tension is real. Okay. 11 plus your perception. What is your perception? 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, good. Alright, so Skullface. Monarch. Skullface, you notice it first. You notice that on the outside of this tower, that on the right side of it, it is destroyed, and a huge pile of rubble kind of from your vision to about there is what you see. You see the pile of rubble. You also notice some arrow slits and some movement behind the arrow slits. It doesn't seem like you are noticed, but you definitely notice these arrow slits look like they are in use. Through further investigation, you also notice some pointy ears, and you hear some, an echo of sounds as growls and snarls, and it looks like a goblin passes by, a goblin silhouette passes by one of the arrow slits. But you do not see fully in, and you just see the silhouette of the light behind. What do you want to do now? As Max, I kind of walk up, and I go very slowly as I can, and I come up behind Monarch and Skullface, and I go, what do you see? I whisper in the demonic voice, goblins. Monarch, you hear this. You hear the female voice mixed in with Skullface's voice.
It probably makes sense that we each have a little bit of everything. What do you mean? No, I'm okay.
Monarch, did you want to do anything? And Monarch, you are really disguised, Monarch. You are a 19. I mean, you want to get a little creative, you can. You have invisibility. You have your disguise as a butterfly. I will give you advantage on deception and stealth. Stealth and deception. Mostly deception, not stealth. I would do deception. But you could do a lot right now, man. Consider you guys lucky. You two are the first ones to get the crack at the castle. Coming of age or something? Monarch proceeds to ask Skullface, you coming of age or something? Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I kind of snicker. As Max, that's fucking funny. Monarch, you get an inspiration dice. You have, write this down, you have one reroll for something, anything. Damage, persuasion, attack, whatever. Shut up, Buttercup. Alright, I kind of tell everybody, hey, shh, enough tomfoolery. Like, this is cereal right now.
I figure we're gonna probably go back up very deep. Getting home. I still wanted to get up, but it just
okay. What's your next move, guys? You guys have next moves. I'm not gonna move as my character. You kind of see a stairwell and a kind of smaller deck up ahead. We would have to go around in the bushes, but you kind of see what looks like the main entrance, what was the main entrance to this castle at one point. Also, Skullface, you can't quite make it out, but you see a bunch of wood and iron, quite possibly resembling a door or something, fallen on the ground just outside of your view.
I didn't see it yet.
Follow the tree line to the right. Okay, so Skullface, you start to proceed to head to the right side, and you get to about, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Get about 30 feet to about right here. Your vision starts to see a little more in. This pile of rubble goes really high. You could possibly traverse it, but it would be considered a difficult terrain. It would be pretty hard, and you might be loud. You also notice 2 more arrow slits, and you start to see the faint flicker of lights on the other side of the arrow slits. This castle is definitely looking inhabited. It looks like this castle was destroyed, but people have taken it over.
Oh my gosh,
So you notice another stairwell in the sidewalk, or you notice the old cobblestone lead to another stairwell. Just barely out your vision, you see the stairwell go up and into the hallway. Just barely.
That. Yeah, it started over.
Monarch, what are you doing? Yes, sir. I don't remember everything. You remember everything. You just tell me, and I know if you have it or not. But my effort is always put into making the world seem more alive and have challenges. And if you beat those challenges, you beat the challenges. So Monarch, what do you want to do? Babe, is there anything you want to do? We are currently at the castle. It is only me and Monarch and Skullface playing right now. Okay, you're following me. I need you to make a stealth check. What is it? Yeah, go ahead. Just a regular stealth check. 20, roll 20. What did you get? 18, very good. Plus your stealth. What's your stealth right now? I just need the number. It's under stealth. Bottom left, or bottom, those numbers. The second one from the bottom. So 18 plus 3, very good. 19, 20, 21. Very good. Cowgirl gets a 21 on her stealth roll. Cowgirl is stealthy as hell. Okay. 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 We might be calling it, since like we could end it. We'll see. But for now, so Cowgirl stealths up and she proceeds to follow and catch up with Skullface. And Skullface kind of hears a rustle, but doesn't hear, doesn't pay attention as his focus is in. All of a sudden, he feels a shoulder, a warm touch of Cowgirl's hand touches his shoulder, and for some reason, he's actually feels it this time because he's not wearing armor. And Max as well heads to catch up to Skullface, and says this, let's see here. I move to about a little bit farther. About right here. I come around the side. I'll follow on someone's lead. Alright, Monarch. So Monarch heads to about right here as well.
Yay!
It is now Skullface. It's your turn again.
Doing okay?
A breeze starts to blow as the leaves rustle, and you know, you start to feel that adrenaline pumping when you start to shake, and you kind of, you know, you feel that pump and the anticipation, and that this is it, you know, like we're here, you know, this is all the marbles.
I think this other one is stronger than it's slower, but it's stronger. Like, I feel this other one, it's not struggling, but it's definitely, like, from a couple of rounds, having more problems. This one, I've seen no difference. Want to trade?
Can I put out the torches with Thaumaturgy? You can if you see it. I believe you have to see the target. I can look again, but I believe you'd have. I would say, even as the DM, you need to see your target to know what. You see the light, but you don't see the torches.
I am too. That's why I said this was trouble.
I'll look it up though. While I look that up, go ahead and figure out your next move.
Free ammo, I like it. feel like a monkey though, going back and forth.
It's a cantrip.
They're not too strong yet. Okay. I try to like leave,
You cause
know,
flames
I
to
know you
flicker,
can
brighten,
down
dim,
a
or
little
change for one color, but you do not put out the fire. You can change the color, brighten them, dim them, but you cannot turn them off. You can create harmless tremors in the ground. You can create sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, which is the range is 30 feet. And you have 30 feet. You can change the appearance of your eyes. You can cause an unlocked door or window to shut or open. Little parlor tricks. I'll follow the tree line some more. Sounds good. So, skull face. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. About right here. You get to the edge of the tree line before a little more bushes start. It's a little more open. You notice a tree trunk to your right cut, as if it was cut a long time ago.
Last time I had this gun, it was pink.
You see another group of arrow slits on the right side, but you see that it's not open. You see that it's shuttered shut. You see no light emanating from these this arrow slit that you see. You deduct that you could probably actually move pretty safely all the way to the right side, if not more. I also follow suit and head with you. 5, 10, 15, 20. Seeing the shit slit as I come up behind you, you kind of tell me, "Hey, my lord, I see another arrow slit," and you point, and you hear the birds chirp as you point, and I see up to the right, it's kind of shuttered and no light is emanating from it. So I proceed to move to this bush and this tree, hugging this smaller tree. Monarch also is following suit along with Pro Gamer Cowgirl. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, about 30. They get to about right here. Cowgirl moves a little more to the back, stay out of the open. Monarch is chilling more towards this side. Anything else you want to do? I'll figure out. I can play this one out, this part.
I'm pretty full.
And I search for a second entrance. Okay, so very good. So Skullface, seeing these stairs, Skullface kind of wants to get a better look, and he proceeds to sneak up to this wall, and he's still stealth, and he moves to the side very creepily and slowly, and he has his shoulders on the back of the wall, and he kind of looks around the corner to the back. The camera sees as you're looking at his body as he's kind of hugging the wall, looking into a slightly lit up tunnel. Skullface, what you see is
I'm like getting fucking
a door
I went down from
right
full
on the
health.
end of this hallway,
I don't know.
leading to the north.
From full health to like a quarter left over.
Right there, you see a door. All right, Monarch, that's his move. Monarch, what's your move? I am going to proceed to move up forward a little more too. I'm not gonna go to the door, but I'm gonna go around my move. 5, 10, 15.
I was in my old.
20, 25, about 30, about right here.
Yeah, it is.
I see another group of arrow slits. Or I see a hole for an arrow slit, but I don't see light emanating from the arrow slit.
I definitely filmed my first. Boy.
Can I investigate the right end for enemies? Absolutely. So go ahead and roll a perception check. You're talking about this side, right? So go ahead and roll a perception check, Monarch, as you move up. You have to move up a little closer. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You just get a little bit more ahead of me about right here.
I have red and I'm going like, I'm going in halves. Like, that's what scares me. Is because last time that's what happened. Is I went from half health to down. And I can see it now.
Rolled a 2. Best you can tell, it's you don't see anything. You just see the same arrow slits, though. That's all about what you see. I'm sorry. It is now Cowgirl is going to stick with Skullface and move up and stick to the edge of the bush. Skullface, it's your turn.
That's so fun. Ready to watch that guy. Oh, I missed. God damn it. And 3 almost feels overwhelming, though. I'm trying to get to him. Oh, we got one left.
I head up with Monarch. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I head up to the right side. I got my ult. I hide in the tree line and use Thaumaturgy to try to open the door quietly. Alright, so, I hide in the tree line. So, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You are just barely there. Okay, so, say you're back about here. You're still stealth at your number. So, it's 1, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So, I'd say you get to about right here. You're still hidden, but you're on the other side of the out of sight of the arrow slits, and you attempt to do your thaumaturgy and you click, and you the camera goes to the door, and the door, you hear this kind of chink, like this click, but the door does not unlock. I am sorry, it is locked. It is not, or the door doesn't, it's not that the door doesn't unlock, the door is locked. You find out that it is locked. Thaumaturgy doesn't work on locked doors.
What?
Monarch, you can do whatever. I'm looking up something right now.
assume a high caliber. As it
Okay.
levels up,
What are you guys doing?
damage, but it doesn't.
I'm like, my character's good. He moved here. This was my movement. Monarch, you can do whatever. Start heading around. I don't know what you want to do. You can't follow my lead, so I'd probably have you either head back to Skullface. Like, I do stuff with my character, but I'm not gonna do the stuff that I know the answers to. That's kind of like, you know, like I have to definitely play that kind of. I don't know.
And that's where it like, you know, you have to.
I'm continuing along the right end. Okay. So, let's see here. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So here's the thing. So, better fucking hold on to your boots. Here we go.
I don't have to go as far anymore because it's getting scarier.
Plus,
Oh,
what the hell is their perception? Wisdom. Oh, thank
it
God.
just seems unfair. Like, this thing is so strong. It's a guarantee as long as I land near enough.
Alright, Monarch, go ahead and roll for perception. Skullface, it's your turn. Go ahead and go. Just need to look up something else.
Okay.
Roll a 9 plus. What's your perception, Monarch? You have a +5 in your perception. Very good. Okay, so 14. Okay, so Monarch, you being a butterfly, Monarch starts to flutter and fly, and he gets to a tree up here, and he's a smaller butterfly using his hat of disguise. And Monarch, you start to see more creatures. You see a palish blue creature, a humanoid, walk past. You definitely saw this creature through the arrow slit as it was kind of taking a second to look out and saw the pretty blue butterfly, but ignored and went moving on to what it was doing. You being lucky that it has disadvantage because you are a monarch, you are a butterfly, you're smaller. They're not that most observant, but you notice a creature about right here inside. He walks past. You see him for a split second, and he walks past, and you don't see him right now. I use thaumaturgy in front of the door, then quickly hide in the trees. What are you? I continue along the right end. I hide in the tree to try and open the door the first time. Or what are you trying to do with thaumaturgy? What are you trying to do with the thaumaturgy, Skullface?
Boy.
Like, what do you? I see you say on the door, but like, are you trying to unlock the door?
Know what I'm doing.
I make a loud noise to see how they respond. Okay. Alright, so Skullface goes up and comes up here. So 5, 10,
like I gotta reload.
I'd say you want to go about half your walking distance. So you have here, and so Skullface proceeds to make a loud noise. What is this loud noise you're making, Skullface? What is the noise you're making?
Okay. Oh man, I should have speed. Why are there so many of these guys right now?
What's the loud noise you're making? Like a booming sound? What's the sound you're making? Be specific. Help me out and be specific. It started, so I shouldn't have to be.
You think the round just started?
That close, and it'll knock.
Yeah.
It's more that are you trying to run? It's that you said you wanted to move closer, right? Okay, so I get it. So right here, so you want to move. You want to be within 30 feet, so you want to be about right here. So, was that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 30, so you can be right here, and you do the sound. So what's the sound you're doing, and what is the noise you're trying to make, and then you will go down here. Okay, hang on, let me see what you but it's like a knock. Okay, cool. So you need 30 feet to do it. So you knock on the door, and you go, you know, boom, boom, boom. And you run into the bushes, and Cowgirl kind of backs up, and that proceeds to you hear the door. You don't hear anything for a little bit, and you wait there tensely, and all of a sudden you hear a bunch of voices. You hear the door unlock, and you hear a multitude of voices come out as they start arguing. You hear these voices. And go ahead, and they're speaking in Goblin, and they, you know, and they come out, and they look, and they are accompanied by another creature that seems to be taller than them and a little bigger. I will zoom in on that creature. Resembles like a taller goblin. It's pointy ears, pale skin, armored, holding itself in an upright position. Looks a little more disciplined, holding a long bow and a short sword. They proceed to argue. And they come out, and they are currently standing around. They're arguing with each other. They're being loud, and they come out, and they start to make demands at each other, but you don't understand what they're saying. The taller creature also seems to understand the littler ones, as they all are speaking a goblinoid. Were we saying that you spoke Goblin, or no? No, you just had Infernal and Common. That's what we did. Hey, Gothics. We are currently sneaking outside Cragmaw Castle. If you have time, I'd say jump in. Cowgirl's about to jump in as well. But we are currently Skullface is attempting, he made a knocking sound to see if it would draw out some, or what it would do, and it drew out some characters. They are on alert. They are not very happy. They are kind of panning, searching around. Alright. They do not see you right now, Skullface. But they definitely look like they're coming towards you. So what do you want to do?
I have to go.
Walking home, for sure. I just meant later. Sorry. I meant later. Unless you're busy. I hope you had a good day at work. I had work this morning too. I didn't get very much sleep last night. But I hope your day was okay. Tell us about your day, sir. Tell us, come. What, anything interesting happened? Maybe? No?
I feel like that tomahawk helps me obliterate anything. I can do
it. Yes and no. Ah, that's a no.
So I just do it with the ring. Like whatever I can smell.
Alright, Skullface, what do you want to do, man? You are about 10 feet away from these 3 goblins and this hobgoblin, and so is Cowgirl. Monarch, what are you doing as well? You can do something as well. It's your turn as well. You can keep doing stuff.
Hell did last longer.
I wish I knew Goblin, but I only got Common and Infernal. Yep, languages. I throw my belt buckle away to try and distract them. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, which direction are you throwing it? Where are you throwing it? And then go ahead and roll a deception throw. It is your deception plus roll a 20.
Stay here for like
so this is the castle. Gothics, we are currently outside of it. We are on the southern side of it. Monarch is over here to the northeast, and I am a little lower. The rest of the group is in here in the bushes, and some goblins came out because they heard some noises. And they are currently making their distance towards Skullface right now. Let's go to one job, then a co-worker asked me to work her shift. I couldn't at first, but being able to do it late, I reluctantly agreed. So I worked a double. I'm tired. Oh, Gothics. Now she owes you. Don't ever do that again for her until she does it for you. You have done the first one. Now don't do it again until she does it for you. You have to work this system out. I'm saying, I'm not saying don't do things for people, but that's how my policy is. But you're such a nice person. Go home at least and get some rest. What are your days off now, man? Like you gotta tell me your days off. 24, very good. All right, cool. Woo. Okay, so Skullface, and which direction are you throwing it? Over by the broken wall. Okay, so Skullface proceeds to throw the belt buckle he had gotten earlier, and he go ahead and it's a big pile. So he throws the belt buckle, and the goblins are kind of arguing in the middle. In the middle of their argument, they kind of they stop talking, and they hear the belt buckle chink against the metal, and they walk over to it to see where they hear the noise. They currently for this turn are facing towards the wall. The other goblin also heading with them, and all four of them are facing towards the noise right now. It seems that you have distracted them for a split second. You might be able to use this to run the fuck away. I don't know. Your choice. While that goes down, I get this feeling that I don't want to head anymore farther. I kind of I can't tell Monarch, he's far as hell, but I start to head back, and I head 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I get to about right here. Monarch, where do you want to do? Just because I don't know what's happening doesn't mean I can't head that way, so just keep that in mind for you guys as well. Don't think that you have to head the opposite direction just because you don't know what's going on. I'm heading that way, I'm heading back, but I'm not heading with urgency. I'm just kind of slowly heading back.
Why I have the perk.
Random. Hey, Monarch. What's random? I need to get grab the queen and go towards my armor. No kidding, right? Forgot we don't have armor on. Oh shit. I forgot we don't have our armor on right now. That's why we're quiet. Good thinking though. Okay, so Skullface and Cowgirl, they both you know, the Cowgirl kind of sees this and sees this concern in Skullface's eyes as they both kind of do this kind of slinking backwards, facing towards their enemy, but facing backwards, and they stealthily get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. They get to about right here through the tree line, and they both head away. These goblins proceed to look around. They head out a little bit. They kind of scrub. You hear them kind of brush the edges, and you hear them, you know, and they kind of say loudly to each other, and it kind of echoes to the tree line. As they do that, it looks like they talk for a second, and one of them, they start to they have this, like, they kind of argue a little bit, and they one of them seems to like kind of push and say, you know, and he it seems like they leave one behind, and they make one sit out, and one of them, you know, he throws his arms down, and they leave one of the goblin archers outside of this door, and the rest of them head back in. And you don't hear the door close, but you definitely notice they leave a goblin on watch outside.
Okay. I learned I like Mustang Sally, but it has no place in our spot here.
I need to learn Grublin. I'll return as well. Okay, so Monarch also starts to head back after seeing what looked like the same, looked like a taller goblin creature. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so you get to about right there. I will also proceed to head back again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and seeing the like, I start to
what?
Let me I start to notice that there's a goblin sitting outside. He's not paying attention. He's kind of leaning against the wall, facing towards the rubble. I notice his arrow out, and I stop for a second, and I realize that wasn't there before. And I kind of head a little more deeper with the last 5 feet of my movement. I head down south a little bit.
Where it is, probably.
Monarch also proceeds to head with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so you get to about right there, Monarch. Skullface and Cowgirl, you guys are next. That's okay, Pro Gamer Guns. I figured you did. Most of the time you say goodbye, so if you left in an abrupt reason that, you know, I feel that, you know, there's a reason, it's okay. So we are, to catch you up, we are currently outside the Cragmaw Castle. We made it. It is a abandoned looking castle, looks old and destroyed. It seems like some goblins and other hobgoblins have moved in into the Cragmaw Castle. It is a rundown castle. Right now we are sitting on the south side of it. Skullface tried to kind of poke and see if he could see what would happen at the door, and it attracted some goblins. They came out, proceeded to realize that, you know, the knock was definitely something or somebody, so they left a guard outside the stairwell. That is the newest development. Monarch and I are heading back. Around the slits, we see a bunch of arrow slits. This tower right here on the right is arrow slits are covered. We can't see into it. But Monarch proceeded to see a hobgoblin creature inside through this slit. Hobgoblins kind of, let me show you a picture of the hobgoblin we had just seen. They're pretty scary. This is one picture of a hobgoblin. Here's another picture of a hobgoblin. Oh, that's the same one. Here's another one. They're like a taller goblin with red eyes and pale blue skin, and they that's all we really know about them right now. Yeah, my friend needed help. Yep. Are my Eldritch Blast silent? Definitely not. It makes the air crackle with its kind of electrical this crackling red energy it has, or green, see, being your aura. My days off are random. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I was doing that.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all, Gothics. That's not okay. You need to stop working and start chilling with us. And my order, Max. You must go poor and bankrupt and sit at home and chill with us. Never working ever again. One day, my friend. One day.
God for these olds.
It would be a nature check, but definitely go ahead and roll a nature check on the goblin. Or hobgoblins, Monarch. Being it's a natural type creature, it's not a magically created creature, it's nature. If you have the idea, or it kind of seems like this creature is magical or it has magical abilities, then it would be Arcana, but nature is the right one.
Halfway.
I know, I miss you guys. Yeah, we miss you too, man. Everybody go check out Gothix's latest video. The Oddball returns with his newest video, his writer vlogs that he likes to make. And you're still not tagging, damn it, Gothix. You need to tag.
I have 3 clips.
You need to tag. It'll never spread. You know how much it would help probably if you just had one writer log tag, just writer's vlogs tag. Boom. I bet you would get a bunch of hits just from that. But everybody go check it out. Here you go. Paste. Boom. Click the link. Go give it a like. Go give it a subscription. Go give Gothic some love. Oh, that's 2 of them. If there's anybody out there that deserves a little help growing, it's Gothics. So go ahead and go ahead and do that by order of Max right now.
Oh! No. We'll do it. Soon as somebody sees it.
Alright, so Monarch Monarch rolled a 2. Well, son of a bitch. What do you have for nature, Monarch? 6?
Oh,
8?
shit.
Okay. I'll give you a little information. So, hobgoblins. You remember being a little butterfly in a small faraway village, and you were sitting on a roof one day, and you noticed a band of hobgoblins come through a small town, and you were far too weak to do anything, but they murdered and they pillaged, but they seemed very very organized military-wise. They weren't those normal band of bandits that fight uncontrolled. Hobgoblins have a very natural ability and natural want to have a structure in they're very militaristic. Let's just say that they're very militaristic. They're proficient in their weapons, and they're proficient in their fighting. They are more formidable character, and they have bonuses in fighting. Head to head, they can be quite dangerous.
Berserk mode, out of my way, berserk.
I walk around and try to get to the other side of the tree line over by my armor. Okay. So Skullface and I are currently armorless. Skullface makes it over to the group and proceeds to put back his armor and receive his normal armor class and his -5 in his stealth. I also took my armor off, and I make it to about Cowgirl. I meet up with her, and Monarch also makes it back. We all proceed to basically regroup. I'm not going to make us move turns for that. We are back in normal open. We are back together. We're all conversing, and I kind of ask Skullface, and I'm like, where'd that goblin come from? I almost ran into his ass.
Yeah, I'm halfway. I got all my guns back, though.
You don't want to put it on, that's fine. That's fine. That was just a mistake of detail on my part. Our armor is currently sitting, in our packs. It can be in our packs and not be, considered on top of you, or on you. Hang on. Face answers and says, I fucked up, that's all I'm gonna say, and I kind of just snicker, and I'm like, it's alright, as long as the alarm's not going off, I think we're okay.
Apparently that's how many we had. Have you rolled?
So, what's our next move? I think what I'm gonna do is I think we should call it. Like I'm gonna end it. I think if we can get everybody on tomorrow, I think I want to try and make sure there's a lot more people on for this, so we're not just one small grand of people is dictating it. No offense, but dictating everything that's gonna happen. And if we, that small group, fuck up, I think the rest of the big group's gonna be pissed. But I think we should call it here. I think we've regrouped. We're safe right now. There is a goblin standing watch out there on the left side. He is now not as passive perceptive now. He is completely perceptive, so now he will be rolling because he is constantly looking. And that's all you know so far. God only knows what they did with that information. Hopefully they're stupid and they didn't tell anybody.
What, this round?
That's what time I'll be home. 1:21. Jesus. But I will, I think we should call it there. I think I think that was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty cool, Monarch, that you know, made yourself into actual normal-sized butterfly. And that gives you advantage to just look like a normal creature. Like, it's really creative. Like, you don't really set off any radars looking like a butterfly, which is pretty cool. And Skullface, I think that was pretty interesting. You know, the thaumaturgy. Unfortunately, the door is locked. It can be opened, but it is locked. But this is cool. This development, I didn't see this coming. Like, I'm curious. Like, it's so funny to see how things kind of turn out. Like, it doesn't even say this in the book. You know, like, this is something that's unique to our adventure, that this happened. So I think this is really cool. You know, we now have a guard standing outside this doorway, and we have to be ultra careful down here now. So it's pretty cool. Loot. Yeah, there is no loot. I'm sorry. We are almost there though. We're at castle. There's no loot in the bushes though. Don't worry. I'm not going to be as restrictive on gold, but I'm not going to lie as DM, guys. We have missed about 3 chests in total. Like, throughout the whole adventure, we have passed up 3 chests because we just happened. You know where one chest was? In the wizard's I'll just tell you this. There was one chest in the wizard's quarters that ran away from us and got away. There was a chest in there, but we never went back to that room. We never went back to that room, investigated the thing. She did a history check, but she was checking the bed. And the chest is over there, like on the table, near the table and shit. But everyone looks up to me. I'm a good example stripping. Yeah, no, that was a really good idea too. The taking off the armor to have better stealth rolls and be quiet. And that's what also, because you were creative, I had you re-roll the stealth roll. You know, like, that is cool as fuck. Hang on. Yeah, everybody tell Gothics what we did today. We fished. What else happened today? Alright, let me get this back.
Shotguns work so great. Oh my god. Yep. Who needs to trust who now? Okay.
Oh no, I closed Twitch.
I think the shotgun works so well short range because we both buy the stun. You know?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that happened today. Hey, Blue.
Oh, good. Yeah, good.
I got to talk to Silver today. Yeah, he did actually. And Silver called him boy.
Stay down here. I really
Silver doesn't have full respect for Skullface just yet. You know how dogs are. They're all about alphas and stuff, and they're all about, you know, who's on top. No matter what, it's still a dog. Like, it's still an animal. That's pretty cool.
We're gonna have to go.
Who's on? I don't know, but I'm gonna Maybe. Maybe. Unless it's a jackass. If MDV comes in, then I'm leaving. We're playing that heist.
I almost got my ability.
Blue, welcome, buddy. I've been some clips from the Game of Thrones on YouTube. Really? All right, that's what I want to hear. It's good. We're gonna go there one day.
Oh shit.
What up?
Join this shit. Martin.
What up? What you guys playing?
I am gonna get my ult.
Yeah, you know what it is.
He's a bit of a dick. Yeah, I'm
Come
sorry.
on, I'm so here. There we
Development. That's it.
go. As long as fucking.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I missed it.
should be good. Yeah. I was making
try
sure
that
I
again.
wasn't gonna like leave you in a bad
Oh
situation.
shit.
Work. There we go.
Oh, did you back out, Joshy?
Chit. I was picking up Martin.
Thank you.
Kill him.
Appreciate it. Fucking Adrian yesterday. Oh, nothing. I haven't played with him in a long time either, and just he never changed.
Yeah, no, Agent's still the same. I didn't play with him for the longest time,
Okay,
and we started playing For Honor together.
Still an arrogant asshole. I played with Adrian the other day, Blue. Fucking.
I still can't believe I've logged more hours.
I know. I can't believe it either. I was playing. I know that means you've been playing a lot. To be a reputation is such a grind.
Dude, I played For Honor a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because nobody played it when I really played it, and then I got out of it now. But I'm playing. The new characters are fucking interesting.
The only reason I started playing is because it dropped free
Yep.
for Xbox Live. So I fucking downloaded it, and it was like, wow, this is actually pretty
Hell
tight.
yeah. Wasn't bad. It just they fucking it's the moves are cool when you actually do like the reflecting and you actually parry and you do something sick.
Like that's why I like playing Aramusha. Dude, I can get that Tempest down and people like rage on me.
Yeah.
Even my buddy Jay, who's a rep 120 fucking 7.
Jesus.
I get him in that shit sometimes.
Oh my
just
god.
Boom, 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 boom.
Too much talking for my days back when it was new.
Gotta go play some For Honor here soon.
Game of Thrones. Okay, I got 2 fish. I caught a bugbear loose. Yeah, we did leave the bugbear loose.
Every time I do play, it's with MDV. He wants to do like 1v1s. He's got a Reputation 10 Raider.
Oh yeah?
Pretty fucked up.
I'm not afraid of no raider.
Pretty fucked up.
Just don't let him tackle you.
Wait. I was gonna say, he fucking, dude, you get like 1 stamina bar to deal with, like, or you're just fucked. Because he'll just keep you out of stamina. He'll keep that pressure up.
Oh, you gotta walk. Okay, and then you got 5 or 6 blocks. It's not too bad. And your phone's almost dead. Yep, no more. You heard what I said, right? You don't do no more favors until she does one for you. It's just how it is. I'll do the first favor, no problem. I'll do it gladly. But you're gonna come to me again in a couple of months and ask for it again, and it's kind of like.
I think I'm overall rep like 15 or something.
Can't.
Choose carefully.
So we're playing that heist mode. You play Raider. You said you didn't like the Raider last night, Skullface. You said you didn't like it. I thought, or were you talking about a person in the game? I thought you were talking about your Raider, because he was too slow.
Swiggity swooey.
I got a ton of gun in my set.
Heist.
Only got 1 extra clip.
Locate the cache, then make it to the
I got my
extraction site.
ultimate. Going to use my ult, just. Ready? Oh!
Shit. How the fuck was he finishing me even though I'm behind the bus?
Oh crap, I'm out of fucking ammo.
There's ammo on cache.
Yeah, if I can get it. Fuck no, I can't. I'm out of ammo, that's great. Forgot to grab.
Push far right.
Back.
We have the cache. Locate the exfil site.
I just used it.
Do I see you?
Ready?
Martin.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
God, I went back for that ammo.
I punched the size of that
Use
fool's
my
face
other
for
machine
free,
gun.
dude. Fuck him up.
Yay.
Let's go.
All right, Monarch. Well, good playing. It was a lot of fun. I hope you have a good night. If everybody can get on tomorrow, you know, I'll be down to play tomorrow too. Yay.
Save it.
All right, Gothics. You have a good night as well. So goodbye points. Goodbye points. Oh, well, that too.
But I'm killing it instantly. So what I think it is that headless thing, where they're headless and they're just running at me. So just a shot or two puts them down instantly. You know what I mean?
Let's see if Hunter will join.
Out.
Fuck Hunter.
Yes, I did.
Not my Hunter.
Yep,
Oh.
trying.
This is other Hunter.
I rage
Okay.
him on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that motherfucker. I got you.
I know,
Hunter's-
it's all
this Hunter's
red and
handsome.
Fuzzy. Have you ever been in berserk mode? It's like slow mo.
No, hands.
Oh, is he bopping shit?
You can do this like once every 20 minutes.
Oh,
Bop,
for
you
Pete's
stop
sake,
it,
behind me.
bop it. Oh shit.
Make them count.
Motherfucker. Yeah.
Good done.
Work me.
Oh, are you heading out as well, Blue? Okay, goodbye points for you as well. Well, honestly, then I think I'll just probably call it. Since everybody's leaving, that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
You fucking
Okay.
queer. Get over here.
Take them out.
Good, Josh.
That it?
Uh-oh.
That'd be it.
Oh shit!
Damn. 3 people.
I didn't know it was gonna be both of
Try
them.
again.
Oh yeah, these dudes are hugging each other's nuts hard.
We gotta
They're
hug each
trying to
other's
stick
nuts.
together. Yep.
Good done.
Why me?
Hey, we're gonna do a 2-hour
I think
game.
one fight I'm gonna streak into battle.
Correct.
All right, I think I'll call it then. Well, then everybody, you guys have a good night. I'm gonna play a couple more games, and then I will head to bed as well. You guys have a good night. I enjoyed the adventure today. You guys have a great night. Get some sleep, and
Scott, use your
kitty
fucking
cam.
monies.
I will leave you with the kitty cam.
Fuck that! I'm up by score streak.
Wired for
Wired for it.
For a score.
Kitty.
Call it.
Don't do it. No, he's
we'll
not.
have
He's
to
safe, safe.
Get the cache at the extraction site.
He's not. He's not. Do 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 do. Seeka out.
You guys have a good night. Get some sleep,
Oh, they just
and I
blew
will
up.
see you
Let's-
guys tomorrow.
Oh,
Somebody up there.
that
Yep,
We're low on lives. Exercise caution.
God. Good night. Good night, Skullface. Good night, Pro Gamer Guns. Good night, Gothics. Good night, Blue. Good night, anybody else.
Western recruit.
Monarch as well.
Yeah.
Good night, good luck, and good tomorrow.
Alright, I will have my ult.